Hello, guys, and welcome to the Stardom Cast, your weekly audio source of all things world wondering Stardom. I'm your host, Rob Goodwin, and I am joined, of course, by Mr. Matt Turner. Matt Turner, how are you, good sir?
Well, hello and hey now, everyone. Hope everyone's having a phenomenal day. It's a little cooler today than it was the past few days. I hope everybody in the United States had a great 4th of July weekend. I hope everybody enjoyed the greatest metal concert of all time, which we talked about for about 15 minutes on the Marigold Standard. But man, I'm excited. These two shows were really, really good. Obviously, the New Blood show and the sold out Korakuen Hall show with just random matches. Sold that son of a gun out. But brother, I'm really excited to talk about this 5-star Grand Prix. A little way different than it's looked the last 2 years, and but I'm pumped for it. And we'll get into all that. But how's everything with you, brother?
Yeah, not too bad, not too bad. We're still in the midst of this heat wave, and I did see someone on Twitter talking about how it's hilarious when Brits complain about heat waves because you look at our temperature and they don't look that hot in comparison to places like Las Vegas and stuff like that. But what people have got to remember is we don't have AC in the UK. We don't have air conditioning. So there's literally, if it's hot everywhere. We can't get away from it. Um,
You
so
guys,
that's,
you guys can't you guys can't buy air conditioning units, like they don't sell them in stores.
we do. They just don't come like, there's no point really because our country is so cold as a rule that there's no real need. We wouldn't get our money out of it. So when it does get, when we do get the 4 days a year when it is absolutely boiling, we just suffer. And I'd like to say we suffer in silence, but we don't because we're Brits, so we moan about it constantly. I've gone into work today in a full suit with jacket and everything, and it got to a point where I was like, I need to take the jacket off, but I daren't take the jacket off because it's going to look like Waterworld if I take this off, or Wet and Wild for our American contingent. So yeah, it's a hot one. It's still a very hot one, but we're getting there. And I'd be complaining if it was cold. I'd be complaining if it was raining. I'm a Brit, Matt Turner, therefore I must complain.
Just to be positive. That's kind of like I remember when before my sister, my brother-in-law got married. My brother-in-law, he's in the service, so he got stationed in Albuquerque, New Mexico, which is not that far away from Vegas, so it's hot. And so she went with them, and I think she was there maybe about a week, and they got snow, which they've never seen before. And again, she's lived in northeastern Pennsylvania, where it could snow 6, 7 months out of the year. And she's driving to work, and she's just like, it's a ghost town. There's no cars, there's no nothing. It's like, oh, this is really weird. And she gets to the building and her manager and somebody else was there. Like, go home. It's like a state of emergency. Like, go home. Like, what are you talking about? There's just like an inch of snow on the ground. They're like, we're not used to this. We have no borough bill. We don't have the budget, as you mentioned, for air conditioning. We don't have the budget for the borough for salt trucks and snow shovels because it never happens. Why would you put that money there if it's not there? She's like, oh, yeah, this is like nothing. Then she just went back home. She's like, oh, snow all the time. I was like, leave it to you. Probably never snowed in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and all of a sudden you're there for 5 days and they get like an inch and a half of snow. So the weather is weird. I always say Mother Nature and Father Time, undefeated. The best tag team of all time. Undefeated. Not even FWC can beat them, buddy.
I don't know. I'd give Thunder Rock a good chance going over him. That it's hilarious though because snow. Obviously, we get snow quite a lot in Britain, but you'd be amazed. You would think we'd never seen it before because the moment we see a couple of flakes of snow, the country grinds to a halt. Like we have salt trucks, we have snow shovels, we have grit bins, on most corners. It's not something we don't see, but like as soon as it snows, traffic is tailed back for God knows how far. Everyone is refreshing websites to see if their school's still open. It's ridiculous. It really is. And that's no matter how much snow falls, whether it's 6 inches, whether it's 2 millimeters, doesn't matter. Does not matter. But that being said, Mr. Turner, that being said, I can't be too grumpy with the heat, despite the fact that I do look rather shiny on our YouTube video because the 5-star Grand Prix has been announced. It is a very interesting field, and we are going to talk at length about the announcements. They've given us all of it all in one. So we've got competitors, we've got block breakdowns, we've got match calendars, we have got all sorts to talk about. There's been a very mixed response actually to the announcements. Some negative, some very positive, some excited, and I think all of them have their merits, certainly. But it's 5-star Grand Prix season, and that comes with a lot of excitement. Full stop. So I can't wait to talk to you about that. We've got title matches announced both for Sapporo and for the upcoming Korakuen Hall show on the 24th. It's title match city in Stardom at the moment. Can't wait to talk to you about that. We've got more Stardom participation at Sareee-ISM as well. The main event of Tae Honma's produce show has been announced. Natsuko and Soriano are going back to Actress Girls, so we're going to be talking about that. The cards have been announced for Fukushima this weekend as well. And again, this week, ladies and gentlemen, I am going to be doing the new segments with Matt, and then Matt is going to go through all of your shows for the Korakuen Hall show that we had on the 6th of July, which was a really interesting show, obviously, with Rena's injury. The Artist of Stardom match got nixed, so all of the other competitors in that match got disseminated into other matches on the card. Still a very, very, very good show and drew a fantastic number. And then we're going to talk, obviously, about New Blood as well, with a really good performance from Yuria Hime, another sold-out show of 153 for Tokyo Square and Itabashi for that show as well. Although we know that it can seat more because Stardom have drawn more to that. So it's sold out because they only had a smaller allocation of tickets, but a sellout is a sellout, Matt. And that's all that needs to be said about that. But before we get into any of that and all of the lovely 5-star Grand Prix discussion we are bound to have, Matt Turner, please, please, please tell us what's coming up on the Patreon this week.
Patreon this week, the summer of Soriano has started, my friend. The summer of one Soriano has just started. In our alternate commentary, we started with that I released, we dropped just this past week. We go to Dream Queendom 2023 for Soriano challenges one Mirai for the Wonder of Stardom Championship. Have not seen that match in quite some time. Thoroughly enjoyed that. That was a super fun one. And then the alternate commentary I actually just recorded the other day that'll be released early next week as we go to a match that Big Dave Meltzer gave 5 stars to. It is the Work Rate Angels of Tam Nakano, remember her, Rob Goodwin, Natsupoi, Soriano, taking on Neo Genesis of Miyu Amasaki Azumi in Starlight Kid, arguably the greatest Artist of Stardom Championship match of all time. Matches with Matt, that'll be up on your Patreon feed this week. Matches with Matt did pit one Soriano taking on Tam Nakano from about a month or so away from Tam Nakano's retirement from Korakuen Hall back at the Stardom Night, or I believe it was April 2nd. So that is what's on your Patreon feed this past week as we kind of wrapped up the Summer of Starlight Kid and 4 alternate commentaries, a tag team breakdown, a lot of great stuff. And now we're in the month of July, the Summer of Soriano. I'm still working with Jordan Castle. I was supposed to record with him on Monday. But something came up, and then I know he's busy. I think he's flying out to Prestige. I believe he's doing the commentary for said show this weekend. So I'm still working on it with him to try to see when we can get him on to do our fantasy, basically booked card of Stardom wrestlers versus independent wrestlers. So hopefully that'll be in your feed in the next maybe week or so. Obviously, myself and Andy Header will be doing some sort of Soriano tag team breakdown. And then we're going to be also be doing a Soriano, Natsupoi and Soriano, Sareee versus Wingori. We're going to be looking at the 3 tag matches that they had at the end of last year. And of course, the match of the year candidate that they had at the Conversion just a handful of weeks ago. And then I am going to be doing a review of Soriano's 2023 5-star Grand Prix. So that and so much more coming up on the Patreon, past, present, and future, as we're just loading up the rocket ship, as the Ultimate Warrior would say, with some phenomenal content for you, members of the Stardom Cast Extra.
Yeah, thank you very much to everyone that subscribes over at patreon.com/the Stardom Cast. It is worth pointing out as well that things might change in regards to when things might drop over the next month or two, simply because there's so much stuff in terms of Stardom 5-star Grand Prix and the Marigold Dream Star, and they're pretty much running at the same time this year. So again, there's going to be a lot of content dropped from the Marigold Standard and the Stardom cast. So just keep an eye on socials and things like that. Stuff might drop on different days than we originally announced.
And Talk Joshi as well, because we have the Sareee-ISM show coming up, I believe Monday or Tuesday. I believe it's Monday, and then we also have All In, which obviously me and Andy have been talking quite a bit about Mercedes versus Toni Storm. So I think that probably by this time next week, fingers crossed, we will be dropping another episode of Talk Joshi. I know I'm scheduled to record on Wednesday with Andy, talking about the Sareee-ISM show and all the women's matches from AEW, especially Toni versus Mercedes Moné, because that is a big matchup coming up this week. And so, yes, because we're not busy enough, my friend. Dreamstar, 5-star, Stardom Cast Extra, AEW All In. I'm all in on doing some podcasting, my friend, with this man right over here, one Rob Goodwin and handsome Andy Header. So, yes, a lot of great stuff coming up on your feed, whether it's a free feed or whether it's on the Stardom Cast Extra. So watch out. Watch out. It's coming.
Let's delve straight into it, man. There is only one place to start, and that is, of course, the Stardom 5-star Grand Prix 2025. Stardom had a press conference on the 5th of July, which, again, you can view in full on YouTube, where, as I mentioned, they announced absolutely everything you could possibly want to know about this year's tournament. So, a couple of things before we read out everyone that is participating. Biggest field in tournament history, 32 names in this year's tournament. 3 names that are not going to be in the tournament, though, are Hazuki Koguma and Saki Kashima. We are going to be getting into that very shortly as well. We are continuing with the 4 blocks. So Red Stars A, Red Stars B, Blue Stars A, and Blue Stars B. I think that worked very well last year. 3 will progress from each 8-person block. Okay, so this again, very similar to last year. Top of the block will go straight through to the quarterfinal. Second and third will then have a playoff, and the winner of that will meet the first place person in the quarterfinal. Winner of the Red Stars A quarterfinal will meet the winner of the Red Stars B quarterfinal. Same in the Blue Stars. A versus, and then we'll meet in the semifinals. Then the final will obviously be the winner of the blue side and the winner of the red side. In terms of the competitors, then we have got 11 tournament debuts out of the 32 names. So, in no particular order, these are your competitors for the 2025 Stardom 5-star Grand Prix. Saya Kamatani, Hanan, Meisera, Yuna Mizumori, Lady C, tournament debut, Waka Tsukiyama, tournament debut, Azusa Inaba, tournament debut, Bea Priestley, making her return not only to Stardom, but to the 5-star Grand Prix, making her first appearance in the 5-star Grand Prix since 2019 and her second tournament appearance overall. Starlight Kid, Azumi, Natsupoi, Sayaka Kurora, tournament debut, Tomoka Inaba, Rian, tournament debut, Natsuko Tora, Rina, tournament debut, Saya Ida, Miyu Amasaki, Sioriano, Aya Sakura making her tournament debut, Amisori Bozilla making her tournament debut, Ruaka Sari making her tournament debut, the IWGP Women's Champion. Perhaps the worst kept secret in Stardom will indeed be in the tournament and making her first appearance in the tournament. Suzu Suzuki, Momo Watanabe, Hina making her tournament debut, Konami Hanako, Momo Kogo, Rana Yagami, and then, of course, we have got one qualifier, Yuria Hime versus Akira Kuragane, and the winner will make their way into the tournament. So, Matt, before we get into the blocks, the quarterfinals, the semifinals, the finals, and what matches we've got on the opening night and the final night, couple of things to talk about. So, as I mentioned, no Hazuki, no Koguma, no Saki Kashima. Now, the fact that there was no Hazuki did not go unnoticed by Stardom fans. Hazuki did tweet out afterwards that she had asked to not be part of this year's tournament so that she could continue appearing for as many different companies as she possibly could. There hasn't been, to my knowledge, any reason as to why Koguma or Saki Kashima are not a part of the 5-star Grand Prix. Now, I think when you've got Hazuki tweeting that out, I think we can assume that Koguma comes hand in hand with Hazuki. So that's less of a mystery. Saki Kashima, of course, has been in and out with injury. I don't think that she would. I don't know whether a tournament grind is perhaps the best thing for Saki Kashima. Again, that is entirely speculation, though. I will get my one negative about the tournament as it stands out of the way now. Oh, bless
That's
me.
that's his negative. That's it.
That's
He's
my
good. I
one
heard.
negative.
God bless you.
Apologies to headphone users because I imagine that was bloody horrible. 32 names is too many names. For me, anyway. I think last year's tournament worked very well. I believe there was 28 last year, and I think that worked absolutely fine. I don't often compare Marigold and Stardom because I find that they're two very different companies. But when you've got Marigold running a 16-woman tournament and you have got people trying desperately to get into that tournament, it feels more exclusive, it feels more elite than trying to cram everybody in the roster on this card. Now, also, when you are running a 32-woman bracket and you are missing Mayu Iwatani, Tam Nakano, Maika, Syuri as well, who of course is on hiatus. Tekla's missing, Mina Shirakawa's missing. Not that Mina Shirakawa was in last year's tournament. Hazuki's not in this tournament. Saki Kashima's not in this tournament. Then announcing an expanded bracket is bold, is very, very bold. There are names in there, and I'm not going to name names because that's not fair, but there are names in there that I don't think need to be in this tournament. And I think it would be, I don't want to say better because that's not fair. I think it would make the tournament seem more prestigious if there were qualifiers to get in. If you think last year, Matt, and we had those great qualifiers in Korakuen Hall where we had Momo Koga versus Lady C, for example, you want both of them in the tournament, but the fact that one of them missed out made this tournament feel prestigious, feel elite, if you will. And I don't think that 32 women is the way to go with that. And especially when every single person in this tournament is in action on that opening night. There are 16 tournament matches on that opening night in Ota Ward on the 27th of July, which is, we're massive fans of Stardom. That's great. But even the biggest fan of Stardom, that's too many matches for one card. And you know that some of them, we had last year where Koguma and Miyu Amasaki, I think, went about 8 seconds and someone got rolled up after 30, and you got Saki Kashima rolling someone up after 30, and so on and so forth. But you don't want to risk diluting the quality because you've got to get through 16 matches. And that's my only issue. Now, I am extremely excited for the 5-star Grand Prix. And actually, there are some names on there and some matches on there that I cannot wait to see. Some tournament debuts that I cannot wait to see. I think Aya Sakura is going to be great. I think Rina's going to be great. I'm really glad that Lady C is getting her, finally getting her opportunity. I think Azusa Inaba is someone to keep an eye on as well. But 32 names. That's my one drawback from this tournament, is that 32 names is too many names for this tournament, in my opinion, Matt.
Okay, brother. A lot to unpack. First, let's back up a little bit because I believe the tournament is 3 from each block qualify, right? So
Correct.
12 going to the playoff. Last year it was only 8. I'm almost
Hmm.
positive it was 2 from each block. So now what they're doing, this is almost very similar to what they did from the Goddess, but they only had the red and the blue, where the number 1 seed gets a bye. I have that correct.
Hmm.
And then 2 and 3.
Yep.
Okay. So the playoffs last year were 8. We're now the playoffs. We're going to be getting 3, 6, 9, 12. We're getting 12. Okay. And I like that. The number
Right.
1 seed gets the bye. So, okay. I like that. So now it's like 3 people from each thing. Okay. So I enjoy that. I see the whole point. 32 people. A lot of people think it's too much. I disagree, and here's the reason why. The 5-star Grand Prix has been so prestigious over the last 4 or 5 years. In the last 2 years, you have lost Utami, Julia, Mina, Mai Sakurai, Mirai, Tekla, Micah, obviously with the injury, Shuri with the injury, Kagama, Hazuki, and Saki Catherine because they're not in this year's tournament. Mayu, she's a Marigold Tam, she's retired. Again, there's a lot of names that's not in this tournament. Where Teru Okada has to look at this Nebraska Stardom is like, okay, who is going to step up? This is the opportunity where I'm pretty much going to put everybody on this to step up. And name me one person that is in this tournament that you don't think over the last 12 months deserves to be in this tournament. I remember you just mentioned it 2 minutes ago, partner. Momo Kogo and Lady C had like a 7-8 minute banger in a qualifying match in Korakuen Hall. And because I think you watched the match live and I didn't, because you text me and you're like, boy, I really wish both these wrestlers can be in the said tournament. Every single wrestler, we watch every Stardom match. We note every Stardom match. We podcast every Stardom match. Every single one of these wrestlers deserves to be in said tournament. Now, if you take a look at the Goddess of Stardom tournament last year, me and you both agree it was probably, as far as match quality, booking, and structure, probably the best Goddess tournament Stardom ever did. We knew going in FWC was going to be great. We knew that Wingor was going to be great. We knew that Soripoi was going to be great. We got our socks knocked off by Devil Princess, Rina, and Azusa Inaba. We're like, wow. Sakura Damon, Yuna and Aya Sakura were like, holy geez, out of nowhere. Even, I always get the name of this team wrong, but I don't think I had Waka and Rihanna. I think they were Moonlight Fantasy. They were great. If you remember, they started out 2-0. We thought they were going on the Goldberg streak. By the way, if Goldberg wins the championship this weekend, I'm so excited to watch the internet melt. Anywho, it's an opportunity for these wrestlers to step up because we're missing not only so many people over the last 2 years, we're missing main eventers. We're missing all-timers. Not only is it a time for an Aya, a Yuna, a Arena, a Hina. I'm excited for Hina because Hina's future Stardom Championship matches have been phenomenal. All these wrestlers to step up that have never been in this tournament before. Lady C. Now, Momo Kogo was in the tournament in 2022, but that was a last-minute replacement because Tekla got injured. Rani Yugami is in this tournament in full stop because obviously last year she went in last minute because Ami Sori's injured. Ami Sori's back. So not only is it a time for them to step up, it's also a time for your current main eventers, your Sai Kamatanis, your Starlight Kids, your Azumis, your Momo Watanabes, for them to step up and say, our big money drawing wrestlers over the last 2 years, Julia, Utami, Tam, Mayu, Micah, Shuri, they're not here. Everybody has the opportunity to step up. Again, even your 2 big champions, your 2 big draws in Saya Kamatani and Starlight Kid. Not only from a quality aspect, but from a drawing aspect. And will this be the best 5-star of all time? Probably not. Is it still going to be phenomenal? Yes, absolutely. But this might be one of the most important 5-star Grand Prix of all time because who is going to step up? Who is going to step up, A, in that big ticket role, B, and who's going to step up on the undercard to say, hey, I belong here. We're excited for Aya Sakura. She's been crushing it. Sayaka Kurora won the Cinderella tournament. I'm excited to see that block that Tomoka Inaba, Azumi, and Natsupoi is in. Holy jeez. Unbelievable. Excited to see what Bozilla is going to do. The fact we're getting Bea Priestley versus Saya Kamatani, yes, please. The fact that we're getting Sareee versus Suzu Suzuki and Momo Watanabe, yes, please. There's some really interesting matchups. So I do see people's point where it's just like there's too many wrestlers. Only one wrestler that has not earned that spot over the last year to be in this tournament. They have busted their humps. And the fact, again, they did it majority of this year. No Tommy, no Julia. Mayu just left. Micah just got injured. And Micah, I don't know if you saw Micah at the end of the Corkin show. She showed her scar. Ooh.
It's a nasty one.
Yeah, it was. But all these big time players over the last 2 years are not there. We have. So who is going to step up? And this is when I think Teru Okada and the Brass of Stardom is like, you know what? We're just going to put everybody in. Everybody has busted their Waka. I mean, we've all been crying. Waka, let's give Waka something. You know, they finally new blood champion. You know, now she's in this 5-star, and she did her again. Her and Rion were phenomenal as far as match quality goes in the Goddess tournament. So now it's like, okay, let's step up. Who is going to step up in this tournament? And I'm excited to see, because this is for me, this is the opportunity tournament. This is the opportunity tournament. And think about it, Rob. And after this tournament, if we see a next level of a Hina, an Azusa, a Rina, a Yuna, a Sayaka Kurora, an Aya, we come out of this tournament with like 4 or 5 people like, oh my goodness, they were so great in this tournament because they had opportunity to prove themselves in a single match. And oh my god, now this roster is beefing itself up even more. What is going to happen when Shuri comes back from her hiatus? When Hazuki and Kaguma come back and they're back full time in Stardom? When Micah comes back from injury? Now Micah has a main event wrestler in an Aya Sakura to work with. Shuri has a main event wrestler in a Hina to either tag with or work with. You have to give these wrestlers opportunities, because the last 4 or 5 years, majority of the top of the card has been dominated by Julia, Utami, Tam, Micah, Shuri, and they're not there now. This is opportunity for every single wrestler in this tournament to step up. So I'm so excited. If you would have told me a year ago, at the end of last year's 5-star Grand Prix, which with the exception of 2022 was my favorite 5-star Grand Prix, you're like, oh, by the way, Matt, next year, Tam's not going to be here. Mayu's not going to be here. Tekla's not going to be here. Mina's not going to be here. Micah's not going to be here. Shuri's not going to be here. Hazuki's not going to be in this tournament. Kaguma's not going to be in this tournament. Saki Kashman's going to be in this tournament. But by the way, when this gets announced in 2025, you're going to be over the moon excited. I would have said, you're nuts. I was so excited. I was so excited because every person in this tournament has damned earned their spot. And again, I understand the whole I'm not disagreeing with you 100%, but I'm not agreeing with you 100%. I see your point where it's just like, I want it to be more prestigious. But again, name one wrestler over the last 12 months that has not busted their ass to be in this tournament. And again, all these big names are missing. Big money drawing names aren't there. Time to step up. And again, this may be the most important month in Teru Okada's booking career. And it's just like, go out there and prove to me. Go out there and prove to me that Aya Sakura, you deserve a shot at the Wonder of Stardom Championship. Ronnie Yagami, go out there and you prove to me that you're going to rematch Shuri, or not Shuri, sorry, but this time for the IWGP Championship, and make it even a better match, a money drawing match. This opportunity for a lot of wrestlers to step up. And I am so excited, because I am all about when people bust their ass at their craft and get better for it. And there is a lot of opportunity. This is the opportunity 5-star. That's what it is, Rob Goodwin. Again, not only from a Yuna, an Aya, Arena, and an Azusa spot, but again, even for the champion, Saya Kamatani, to prove that she can be the biggest draw in the history of Stardom, and Starlight Kid as well. She can prove to be the biggest white belt draw in the history of Stardom. And Azumi, a Natsupoi, a Tomoka Inaba, a Momo Watanabe, a Kunami, a Sari, a Bozilla, Suzu Suzuki. There is a lot of opportunity in this 5-star. Lady C. I am so excited for Lady C. The fact that Lady C, I believe, gets Kamatani on night 1, that is going to be a phenomenal match, because Lady C, we've been saying for 2 years, she takes every second that she gets in the ring and she maximizes her opportunities almost better than anybody, because her opportunities don't come along like Tam and Mayu's do. And we understand why. The fact that she's getting the best wrestler this year on night 1 of the 5-star Grand Prix, and what does Sai Kamatani do? Probably better than any wrestler in all of wrestling. She makes underneath talent look better. I always say it's her and Utami. They do it better than anybody. Queen's Quest forever, Aphrodite forever. But anywho, that is going to be a great match, and I'm really excited for everybody's opportunity. Yes, I was very much like, this is awesome. This is going to be great. I'm so excited. Where's Hazuki? And then an hour later, she did tweet out, like, she did ask whether that was a shoot brother, or whether that was they basically told Hazuki, you're not going to be in this tournament. We want you to tweet out after the announcement that you asked for time. I don't know. I don't want to know. I know there's been rumors the last day or two that she may be royal in Texas, which if that's the case, I'm all for. So again, maybe Hazuki on my TV on Saturday afternoon. I shall take that. Again, whether those rumors are true or not, I don't know. But regardless, brother, again, I see your sentiment. I hear it. But, again, I somewhat agree. I mostly disagree, because I'm just excited for the opportunity. There's that word again, as one VKM used to say. There's that word again. as excited for the opportunity for the young talent to really, really get the chance to show what they can do in the biggest tournament of the year.
The chance of Hazuki turning up at All In are very slim, simply because she's been advertised for the Wave show on the 13th. So unless she is planning on doing 2 back-to-back red eyes, I sincerely doubt it.
Well, you know what?
It's not.
To all those people that got my hopes up, saying that she was going to be there. How dare you? How
No,
dare you?
yeah, she's in the quarterfinals, I believe, of the Catch the Wave tournament. It's not often we disagree, Matt, but I must admit I still do disagree. I do feel like there should have been qualification matches, because yeah, you're absolutely right. There are talent like Lady C, like a
Momokogo.
Momokogo, people like that who have deserved this opportunity. Sakura, Sayaka, Kurora, but a couple of things. I feel like those matches are going to get diluted simply because there's going to be so many matches to get through in this tournament now. I think you have lost the prestige of it somewhat. I mean, again, you look at last year. I would argue that Lady C has deserved it the last 3 years because of the work she's put in. However, she's missed out in the last two, and this is now a reward for that. And if you had Rian and Waka Tsukiyama now go into a qualification match or go into like a little qualification league, they had that a couple of years ago where they had a little qualification league, and Amisori and I think Sareee-ISM made it through that qualification league, and people missed out. And people do miss out because this tournament is for the elite. And again, you said about you're missing different people. I agree. From last year's tournament, again, 28 wrestlers, you are missing 10 wrestlers from last year's tournament. I think you could quite easily just have replaced those 10 wrestlers and then had qualifiers for the rest of those matches. And I do wonder if you did have an Ankanai, you did have
Matoi.
a Matoi Hamabi, then maybe you would. Maybe the injury to Sareee, to Micah, has curbed those plans. But I still think that 32 wrestlers is far too many for a round robin tournament. Again, we'll see how it plays out. I am still of the opinion, like I say, those 10 wrestlers that have gone. Natsukatori's come back. Amisori's come back. I think Bozilla was a shoo-in as soon as she debuted, and I'm very excited to see what that brings. Aya Sakura needed to be in the tournament this year. Sayaka Kurora needs to be in the tournament this year. I think Lady C deserved to be in the tournament this year, but I think there are some names there that you are like, right, okay. So Rian. Okay, let's use Rian as an example. And this is horrible because I'd love Rian. But Rian got her first win ever 2 months ago, and now she's in the 5-star Grand Prix. Now, to me, she is someone who should have gone through a qualification match. And then if she's won that match, perfect. Don't mind. That's fine. If we're talking from a kayfabe aspect, why is Rian in the tournament this year? Because ultimately, again, 123 matches or something without a victory, and then she's got 2 victories now, I believe, pinfall victories, maybe 3 actually. I think she picked up another one recently. But again, is that 5-star Grand Prix worthy? Are we losing some of the, again, the prestige? Now, I completely understand what you're saying about the opportunity 5-star Grand Prix. However, with those 10 people missing from the tournament, you could quite easily bring in 10 that deserve that opportunity. That's where your Aya Sakuras, your Sayaka Kuroras, your Rina, your Hina. This is Rina's first year in the tournament. Are you telling me that Rian and Rina have done the same amount and deserve the opportunity equally? So that's my only thing with the tournament. Again, I have no issues with them bringing Bea Priestley over. I think that's going to be great. I have no issue with Bozilla being in the tournament because that's going to be great as well. Sareee being in the tournament. I think we mentioned this before. We are missing a certain caliber of star power with the likes of Tam, Mayu, Micah, Syuri, Julia, Utami, Mirai, all missing now from Stardom for various reasons. I think Sareee brings a little bit of star power to that. And I do like the fact that, okay, we've added one more person to the block. We're going to add one more person going into the playoffs for each block. That's fair enough. Just that opening night, especially 16 matches is a lot. And that's where I sort of look and go, are we sacrificing quality for the sake of quantity? And again, time will tell, and I might be proved wrong, but we will see. We will see. In terms of
I
the
just want to
block,
I want to answer your question. Rion got in because of MLDB, Micah's little drinking buddy. I think that alone gets you into the 5-star Grand Prix. So, and I do want to make mention that another reason why I'm so excited with 32 people is more than half these people my wife has not seen wrestle. So the fact that we were doing our annual who gets points, and I'm excited for her to be really whipping me like she does every year, only for me to make my big comeback towards the end, because I basically told her who was in the tournament. I have no idea who more than half those people are. And I'm like, I'm so excited for you to whip me for about half this tournament.
So in terms of Red Stars A, then we have Bea Priestley, Waka Tsukiyama, Yuna Mizumori, Hanan, Saya Kamatani, Meisera, Lady C, and Azusa Inaba. That is your block for Red Stars A. Red Stars B, and I think this is without a doubt the killer group with that the group that everyone is very much excited for. Rina, Rian, Sayaka Kurora, Starlight Kid, Azumi, Natsupoi, Tomoka Inaba, and Natsuko Tora. There is 6 people there that could quite easily be in with a shot of reaching that final 3. And again, Rina is someone who you desperately need to keep an eye on. That she could be a bracket buster without a shadow of a doubt. Moving on to Blue Stars, Bozilla, Aya Sakura, Miyu Amasaki, Saya Ida, Sayori Ano, Amisori, Ruaka, and then the winner of Akira Kuragani. Or Yuria Hime make up Blue Stars A, and then Blue Stars B. Sari, Momo Watanabe, Hanako, Hina, Momokogo, Rani Yagami, Suzu Suzuki, and Konami make up Blue Stars B.
Why did you just apologize to Momo Watanabe? You said, sorry, Momo Watanabe. And you're upset there isn't a qualifying match. We got one qualifying match. I tell you what.
We've got one qualifying match.
I tell you what. It's too hot. It's too cold. There's too many people in the 5-star. Too many great matches.
Daichi in there. Throw Taro Okada in there.
Oh, man. Okada won't wrestle Tekla, but Daichi's got a ref, buddy. He's a busy guy. Daichi's a busy guy.
Bob Sasaki, get in there. Get in there, Emi Mashima. You've only had 8 matches, but get in there. That being said, as I mentioned before, the brackets for the playoffs, we'll see 3 go through from each block. The playoffs and the quarterfinals all happen on the 20th of August. Block action ends on the 17th of August. The semi-finals will then take place on the 23rd, as does the final. So the final and the semi-finals happen on the same day this year, the 23rd of August. So that is another change for the tournament. Just wanted to bring attention now to the 5-star Grand Prix opening night and the closing night. So the opening night is the 27th of July in Ottawa City Gym. And there's some really good matchups here that we think we're going to look forward to. And then I want to have a look at the final night of block action, because that gives us some indication ordinarily of who is going to be in with a shot of qualifying for the playoffs. So the opening night and the 84 matches that the people at Ottawa City Gym are going to be watching.
Hell yeah. There's too much. Real quick, partner, you did this is the second year they're doing the semifinals and finals. Last year they did the semifinals on the final night. They did because it was Micah and Mayu, Kamatani and Hanan, Tam winning the title, and
Yes,
then it was Micah and Saya Kamatani. So just to kind of correct you, but I'm excited for these 84 matches on my wife's birthday. By the way, it starts on my wife's birthday.
Saya Kamatani versus Lady C, Hanan versus Azusa Inaba, Meisera versus Waka Tsukiyama, and Bea Priestley versus Yuna Mizumori are your Red Stars A matches from that night. Hanan versus Azusa Inaba could be a sleeper hit. Saya Kamatani versus Lady C, of course, we've already mentioned. Red Stars B, Starlight Kid versus Tomoka Inaba is going to be very tasty. Azumi versus Natsuko Tora. Natsupoi versus Sayaka Kurora is also going to be very interesting. Rina versus Rian rounds off your fixtures for Red Stars B. Blue Stars A, Sareee versus Soriano. Yes, please.
Hell yes.
I hope that's not a match that's cut for time. Miyu Amasaki versus the winner of Akira Kurogane and Yuria Hime. Aya Sakura versus Amisori. That could be a sleeper hit of the night. Bozilla versus Ruaka. That is your Blue Stars A. Blue Stars B, your final block. Momo Kogo versus Momo Watanabe. Hina versus Suzu Suzuki. Rani Agami versus Hanako. Don't sleep on that match. And then Konami versus Sari as well. So, Matt, matches to look forward to, definitely. Which ones are you sort of highlighting there, apart from obviously the obvious ones?
I mean, again, Sai Kamatani and Lady C. I think it's going to be a breakout performance from Lady C. But yeah, there's Bozilla and Ruaka. That should be fun because you know that you're going to have Ruaka getting her butt kicked early on, and then she's going to try to cheat. And I just think it's like not going to work on Bozilla. And I think that'd be a great way for Bozilla to start this tournament. Obviously, Sari versus Konami is probably the match I'm looking forward to second most. Where probably the main event is going to be, my guess is going to be Starlight Kid versus Tomoka Inaba, because that's going to be the really tricky one to follow. But even Tora and Azumi, they have some really good, like we've been seeing over the past handful of years in tag matches. They have some really excellent chemistry together. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to that opening night. I know 17 matches. A lot of people are like, oof, that might be a little bit too much. But I won't complain. And again, I know I'm kind of, on the I don't mind all these matches. I don't. I'm all for it. I'm so happy to wake up super early to watch said matches. I'm super pumped for it. But yeah, a lot of really great opening matches. But how about you, partner? Other than again the matches that I announced, is there any other ones that are kind of sneaking in for you?
Hana versus Suzuki Inaba is one that I'm very excited for. I think Starlight Kid versus Tomoka Inaba is going to be a great one, and I think Tomoka Inaba might actually get the win there. They've teased a lot of Starlight Kid and Tomoka Inaba, and I think that's a way of getting a white belt match in there. They've been teasing it for what seems like months and months.
Since the beginning of the year, I think since the
Yeah.
beginning of the year they teased.
Soriano and Sayurida as well is going to be a very, very tasty match. It's going to be interesting to see how B goes with her first match in Japan since 2021 against Yuna Mizumori. I mean, you've got someone there who's going to give you a great match anyway in Yuna Mizumori, but I'm excited to see what Bea Priestley is doing there. Closing block night, then, the 17th of August. We haven't got 834 matches. Not everyone is in action on this final night. In terms of Red Stars A, then, Saya Kamatani versus Bea Priestley.
Yes.
Hanan versus Yuna Mizumori. And
Yes.
Lady C versus Waka Tsukiyama. So it's Meisera and Azusa Inaba that aren't in action there. I think Saya Kamatani and Bea Priestley are going to be there or thereabouts. I would argue then the chances are it's going to be Hanan and Meisera vying for the other position. What do you think?
Yeah, I think, and again, obviously in our bracketology, we'll eventually, we'll talk off air when we're going to do that, because I know sometimes we sandwich it in with the Stardom cast, and it turns out to be a 9-hour episode. We might have to see if maybe we'll just break it up, because this bracketology is going to be a monster episode in itself. But kind of off the top of my head, I think it's going to be Hanan, Saya, and Bea Priestley that come out of that block going into the playoffs.
Moving on to your Red Stars B, then. Starlight Kid versus Natsupoi, obviously. That's going to be, I think, probably for position 1 and position 2 in the block. Azumi versus Sayaka, Kurora, Tomoka Inaba versus Rian, which means it's Rina and Natsuko Tora that are missing out. It wouldn't surprise me if Natsuko Tora gets eliminated on the last night with a victory for a Tomoka Inaba or for an Azumi in that. I think Starlight Kid and Natsupoi are shoo-ins for those top 2 positions. Matt, who do you think sneaks in third?
I'm definitely Starlight Kid. I don't know if it's going to be Natsupoi, just because you have Tomoka Inaba. You might want to have a heel there in Tora, and you have Azumi as well. So I don't know if Natsupoi, you said, is a shoo-in. She could be the number one seed. I don't know. Starlight Kid definitely. Again, this isn't my. I'm still sticking. Again, this isn't my full prediction. I'm still sticking with Starlight Kid winning this tournament as white belt champion because it just elevates the white belt because no other white belt champion has won the 5-star Grand Prix. How else are you going to elevate with Kairi, Io, Momo Watanabe, Arisa, Tam, Saya Kamatani have done by that way? Anywho, I'm going to say Starlight Kid. Again, this is off the top of my head. Starlight Kid and Azumi and Tomoka Inaba. Not my official prediction. I'm going to take a step back, have a few beers, have a few waters, and then a few more beers, go down a slip and slide, and then give you my official prediction. That's how I think I have to do this.
Got to bring in the slip and slide. Then Blue Stars, we move over to the other side of the bracket. Then Sareee versus the winner of Yuria Hime and Akira Kurogane, Miyu Amasaki versus Aya Sakura, and Amisori versus Bozilla. I am very excited for that match. In terms of that block, so Saori Ano and Aya Sakura are the ones not in action on the final night. Sorry, not Aya Sakura. What am I talking about? Riwaka. This block's really hard for me to call. I think this block's probably the hardest one in a lot of ways because I think Amisori makes it out of the block. I think she was probably someone that was going to be pushed heavily coming out of the 2024 5-star before the injury. I would be very surprised if Bozilla doesn't make it through. Very surprised because she's a dominant force, and I can't see her taking too many pinfalls in this tournament. So potentially Sareee might roll her up with Iidabashi, but again, I can't see any people sort of outpowering her. Maybe Saori Ano pins her with the special pottering. We will see. But you've got Miyu Amasaki in there. You've got Aya Sakura in there. It's a difficult block to call. I think Saori Ano, I think Bozilla, and I think Amisori are the three for me. I think Sareee might just miss out.
Rob, real quick, other than the special pottering, is there another move in Soriano's arsenal that she can beat Bozilla with?
The Japanese cyclone suplex.
Possibility.
It's not cyclone suplex, the ocean suplex, sorry. I believe she does have another one. What is it called? It's that's right. It's called the Tom's Tond.
There it is. I'm in agreement with you. I think Bozilla and Soriano are definitely coming out of this block. The third one I think is going to be between Amisori and Saya Ida. But I think with just Bozilla just debuting in the company and obviously having all this, fanfare because she absolutely crushed it in Marigold. Not only that, something we haven't talked about in quite some time that helps wrestlers get wins. Bozilla has the tan advantage. She has the tan advantage.
She's upped her tan game spectacularly.
You can tell that she learned that Julia taught her quite a bit over the time in Marigold, especially her tan game. But no, I just think with Bozilla just again being a dominant force and being new, again coming off this great run that she had in Marigold and now she's over in Stardom. I think Bozilla gets there. I think Soriano again because one, she's phenomenal. Two, I don't know. I really don't know who's coming out of that match in 2 weeks with her and Starlight Kid as the Wonder Champion. I wouldn't be shocked if they flip out there or if Soriano loses and then just goes on a tear in this tournament. But I think Soriano, match quality wise and drawing power wise, not too many people better in Stardom than Soriano than that 1-2 punch. But I think either Amisori or Saida is that third one. Flip a coin. I think it's a win-win between those two. But yeah, I think Bozil and Soriano, I think are pretty well locks for that. But that third spot, I'm going to agree with you and go with Soriano.
And then Blue Stars B, we have got Momokogo versus Sari. We've got Hina versus Hanako. And we've got Ron Yagami versus Suzu Suzuki. No Momo Watanabe in action there and no Konami. I think Sari and Momo Watanabe have to be the locks in this block. I mean, they do for me because I've got Momo Watanabe winning the tournament. I would be amazed if Momo doesn't make it out of this tournament, out of this block. That third one, I mean, Suzu Suzuki is the only prior winner in this tournament. I would be very surprised if it's not her, but I think it'll be between her, Hanako, and Konami for that third position. But I think Suzu has to go through.
Yeah, she's the leader of the new faction. She's your only former tournament winner in there. I think this one might be as far as maybe the easiest as far. And I don't know what the seating is going to be, but I'm sorry, Momo Watanabe and Suzu Suzuki. I think that if you're like Matt, you just gave your prediction. Yeah, this isn't my official prediction. I didn't go down a slip and slide. Maybe that's what we'll do. Maybe I'll go down. We'll do it on YouTube and put my fancy new microphone up. I'll shotgun a beer, go down the slip and slide, and give my prediction. So that's a lot of beers and slip and slides. That might be either the worst or the best podcast we've ever done. There's no in between. But anywho, as far as what I think is going to, as far as the three playoff brackets, or excuse me, 4 with the 3 people, I think this is the one I feel most confident on, with it being Sareee, Momo Watanabe, and Suzu Suzuki. And then, just think about that. There's who's the hardest hitter? In that, you can go either way. Who's the hardest hitter between those 3? You might have the 3 hardest hitters in this entire tournament all in the same block. And then you have Konami as well that it's in this block. But yeah, I'm excited for all those, and the fact that hopefully we maybe get some sort of rematches in the playoffs with Sareee, Momo Watanabe, and Suzu. But that's the one I feel most comfortable on. Again, Sareee, IWGP champion, huge, massive star. She's going to go through. A lot of people do have Momo Watanabe winning this whole tournament. Momo Watanabe and Saya Kamatani are the ones that I've heard the most winning this tournament. And then again, I think you just have to have Suzu. Yeah, she's a phenomenal in-ring talent, former winner of this tournament, leader of her new faction. I think that Suzu is kind of a must. And I think that if you have Bozilla on the opposite end there, you can kind of maybe tease that we may get something in the on that big final night of a Suzu versus Bozilla. I think that'd be something really interesting that you kind of plant the seeds for, but not go all the way in. But regardless, my man, there's a lot of great wrestlers in this tournament, especially as we're getting towards the dog days of summer, getting towards the end of this month. But yeah, excited. I'm excited. I'm obviously, we're almost an hour in, and most of this podcast is talking about this. When I woke up today, I was so excited. I can't wait to talk to Rob about this tournament. And I'm going to be even more pumped up when I really get an in-depth look at these brackets and we do our bracketology, my friend. But super pumped.
Yeah, we will release our sort of 5-star primer, which tends to be one of our most popular episodes of the year, with all of the rundown of the competitors, their stats, their matchups, and their records against people in the tournament. We'll go into a little bit more depth as to who we think are going to reach the playoffs and who we think is going to be seeded in what order and things like that. And what matches elsewhere we're looking forward to, because we haven't even talked about Momo Watanabe versus Sareee, which is going to be one tasty match. Obviously, Saya Kamatani versus Hanan is another great match. You've got Azumi versus Starlight Kid. Again, we've got Starlight Kid versus Azumi. We've got Natsupoi versus Azumi for the first time in God knows how long. Feels like ages since we've seen those two square off. So a very, very exciting time. Again, I am not excited for this 5-star Grand Prix. I'm very excited for this 5-star Grand Prix. I just wish there wasn't as many competitors. I think 28 was the perfect number, but there we are. Doesn't matter. It's done now. It won't be mentioned again. It's 5-star Grand Prix season.
That's right. Most wonderful time of the year. Don't worry. I know everybody's saying, Matt, you need to get Rob as a happy camper. Don't worry, folks. I'm a salesman. I can sell Rob Goodwin, who's written 2 books about Stardom. Don't worry. It will get done. By the way, I'm the number 1 sales, our new product that we're pushing. I'm the number 1 sales rep on the East Coast on that. So if I can sell that, I can sell Rob on 32 wrestlers in the 5-star Grand Prix. Real quick, buddy, who do you think wins that playoff with Yuria Hime and Akira?
Oh, that's a tricky one.
Want me to tell you who mine is? What do you think?
I imagine you're getting Uriah.
I'm going to say time limit draw, and they both get in. So then we have 33 competitors. No, I think it's going to be it is a real tricky one. I think that just the fact that they're putting, especially after this new blood show, which I'm going to get into in a little bit, they're putting a lot of stock in Yuria Hime, but I think maybe wait. Akira she's in a faction now. I think that Akira goes through, but I'm 51% Akira, 49% Uriah. I'm excited for the playoff match because it's going to be really, really good because they got great chemistry together. But they definitely have major plans for Yuria Hime. I think maybe just because the opportunity is available on this 5-star for so many wrestlers, maybe hold off on Uriah just yet and start building her up in the fall and then make the 2026 5-star her first dealing in the 5-star and make it a big deal. But I think it's going to be Akira.
I don't know if did you see any of the press conference?
Most of it I did. Yeah,
Yeah.
most of it I did.
Now, in terms of the drip factor, because that's what the kids call it nowadays, Akira Kurogane has to get in because she looked badass. Looked incredible. I thought Miyu Amasaki looked great as well, as did Azumi, but Akira Kurogane took the award for me. Absolutely. Just punk rock to the max. Absolutely loved it. So just for that, I'm gonna say Akira. I will just say as well, final thing on the 5-star Grand Prix. Last year we had red stars on one night, blue stars on the other night. I haven't actually checked to see whether that is still the case. I will just have a look now to see if there are different nights, if there are alternating nights, because if there are, it means there are only 6 matches per night. However, if there isn't, and they're doing everything on the same night, there's 12 matches a night, which might be slightly problematic. My internet is deciding to take a while. Just give me a second. I ordinarily have this loaded up, but it decided to reset for some reason. There we go. Blue Stars B. First and the third, 27th, 9th. Yes, they're different days. So there's some joint days. So the 3rd of August is a joint day. I'm wondering if that's Korakuen Hall. I can't remember the exact rundown. But yes, they are different days. So 9 times out of 10, these dates will be either red stars or blue stars. But there is the odd one that is the same, which I think is the 3rd of August, which again is probably a Korakuen Hall date, which again last year was phenomenal. If you remember the last 2 Korakuens. Let's move announced for that card. We did already know that Saya Kamatani versus Natsupoi will be the main event of Sapporo. However, 2 more matches have been announced for that card. It has been confirmed that finally Sareee Ano believes herself to be worthy of a white belt shot. So it has been confirmed Starlight Kid will defend the Wonder of Stardom Championship against Sareee Ano, a former 2-time Wonder of Stardom champion. We will also have a Future of Stardom Championship match on that card as well when Hina defends the belt against Sayaka Kurora, with Sayaka Kurora coming out and challenging her at Korakuen, which means that we have 3 title matches for Sapporo Rendezvous 2025 on the 21st of July. But Matt Turner, we are not done, because on the 24th of July, Stardom have a night show in Korakuen Hall where we have 2 more title matches to go through. Bozilla will be challenging Azumi for the New Japan Strong Women's Championship, Azumi's first defense since dethroning Mercedes Moné 61 days ago. And BMI 2000 will be challenging Wingori for the Goddesses of Stardom Championships as well. Now, interesting little footnote before I throw to you, Matt. That will be Wingori's 6th defense of the belts, with a successful retention putting them at joint 3rd in the all-time list, level with Momo Watanabe and Utami Hayashishita. Now, there are 2 teams in front of them. You can definitely name one of them. Who's the other one?
Yeah, so obviously number 1 is Io and Mayu, Thunder Rock.
Yep.
Now, are we doing alts? Because I'm trying to think. Is it 1 reign? Because I'm thinking FWC, but they've had 3 reigns.
Single reign.
Okay. I'm going to go with Kairi and Yoko Bito.
Incorrect.
Okay, I'm going to go with one more guess. Hold on one sec. I'm going to go. We love Tokyo Sports, the Fukin Death and Saki Kashima, right? They have 84 reigns.
You are correct.
No.
Correct.
Yeah. Who's on the team, buddy?
Kagetsu and Hana Kimura. So currently, again, If they are to win, it'll be Wingori and Momo Watanabe and Utami Hayashishita with 6, Hana Kimura and Kagetsu with 8. And then, do you know how many defenses Thunder Rock had?
Oh, I should know this. Was it 9?
11.
Oh man, how did I not know that? I did a full review on that. Again, for you Patreon members, go back in the archives. I did a review of some Thunder Rock stuff, but I don't think all of it was available. So I did my best.
There you go. There you go. But Matt, I mean, with 3 great matches set up for the Sapporo pay-per-view, I mean, just the 1-2 punch of Sayaka Kamatani and Natsupoi, and then Saori Anou and Starlight Kid is going to be great. But I think that Sayaka Kurora versus Hina match is going to be very, very good. Hina's doing great things with that future belt. What are you thinking?
Yeah, I mean, as far as tickets goes, too, I just looked the other day, and they did put a big dent into the night 1 of the 5-star Grand Prix. They sold a good amount of tickets right after the press conference. This Korakuen Hall show is just about sold out, and I think Sapporo only has a few tickets left. So that's going to be a busy week for Stardom, because I believe it's like the Monday, then it's like 3 days later, and then it's the Sunday. So I think this is all within, what, a 7-8 day period. So all right, no rest for the wicked, as Ozzy Osbourne would say. Did you know that Black Sabbath, they invented championship matches, Bob?
Invented wrestling, mate.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I'm jazzed, man. I really am. Again, it was kind of weird where they were going with Sareee-ISM not challenging Starlight Kid. I'm like, oh, maybe they're waiting for after the 5-star. Then it was just like, okay, no, I think I'm worthy enough. And maybe they just didn't want to take away from Natsupoi and Sai Kamatani building up their match, which again I will get into. The two of them almost killing each other in the main event of that wild Korakuen show.
Match.
That match is phenomenal. But I mean, geez, I mean, what's going to be the best match of the show between those two? Those 1-2 punch. You're absolutely right. Starlight Kid and Soriano. We've seen them. They've had 2 matches in the past. Last year at the 5-star Grand Prix, one of the best matches of the tournament. And they had a really great, underrated Wonder of Stardom Championship match back at Supreme Fight, the anniversary show at the beginning of last year. I don't think not enough people talk about. And Soriano is better now than she was last year. Starlight Kid is better now than she was last year. And then you're going to Kamatani Natsupoi. I mean, that is going to be phenomenal. I'm assuming Saya Kamatani is going to retain. I don't think she's losing that belt until at least the end of the year, if not later. But I wouldn't be shocked if Soriano does win the Wonder Belt. And that does fully open up the door for Starlight Kid to win the 5-star. Again, I'm under the impression if Starlight Kid wins the 5-star, she wins it as the Wonder Champion. Again, to raise the prestige of the belt, and then she drops it along the way between now and the end of the year. Because I think Kamatani versus Kid is your big match at the end of the year. But again, we'll talk about that when we do our 5-star primer. I wouldn't be shocked if Sayaka Kurora comes out as the future of Stardom champion. So there is a lot, with the exception of these 5 title matches coming up at the end of the month, with the exception of Sai and Natsupoi, I could see it going either way. I really, really can. Even this, I'm looking at this render here, Bozilla and Azumi. I mean, do you bring Bozilla in and have her lose to Azumi right off the bat? I don't think. I mean, my early prediction was see Bozilla wins. I know the Azumi diehard fans, which obviously mean you are, be very upset that she's finally won a singles championship only to drop in her V1. I don't know where they go with that. I'm intrigued. It's going to be a great match because Bozilla works with anybody. It doesn't matter. She's worked with the Saris, the Utami. She's worked, with the my Sakurai. She works well with everybody, and it's going to be interesting to see Azumi to wrestle somebody big, somebody so strong and so dominant in Bozilla. And I always say, with the exception of Will Ospreay, Azumi's the most talented wrestler in all of wrestling. And this is a different style match because we've seen her work with the Shuris and the Mikas and the Utamis and the Kamatanis and obviously the Natsupoi Starlight Kids. This is a different style, so I'm really intrigued with that. And then just the absolute role that Wingori is on. I mean, they're the tag team of the year for me in all of wrestling. And the fact that we're giving a nice little push towards Tora and Ruaka, big win at the conversion against FWC. So they're doing a really good job heating them up. I think Wingori wins that, but I wouldn't be shocked if they flip the belts. Again, Stardom firing on all cylinders. Shows this weekend look really good. And again, the end of this month is going to be a massive month for them because they have a lot of really great stuff leading up to the 5-star partner.
If Starlight Kid drops the belt, I think she wins the 5-star. I think if she keeps the belt, I think Momo wins the 5-star. I do think Starlight Kid will retain. I think Saya Kamatani retains. I think if any belt is going to switch on that show, it'll be the future belt. Even though Hina's doing a great job with it, just as Hanan and Rina did before her, I think Sayaka Kurora is perhaps the person to dethrone her. Maybe I wouldn't be devastated if Sayaka Kurora lost. I wouldn't be devastated if Hina lost. You know, whoever takes that belt is going to do great stuff with it. So it's going to be a great match. That's what I'm more bothered about. In terms of the Goddesses belt, I think Wingori retain. This strong women's championship match is the hardest one of the lot to call
I
because
agree.
you could potentially have Azumi win just with the Azumi Sushi, really. So, I mean, we've seen that Bozilla is prone to a roll up. We've seen her get bamboozled by the Paradise Lock by Mai Sakurai on the ramp in the Dream Star. So, she has weaknesses. Maybe Azumi will play on that. I mean, if Bozilla wins, like, that's great. We know that she's going to have great matches. We've seen her work with smaller wrestlers in Marigold, and she's done really well. We've seen her wrestle bigger people such as Megan Bain and put on one of the matches of that show, GCW. So whoever wins that, I think it's going to be a great match, and there's going to be great matches going forward. If push came to shove, I think Azumi wins. And I think Azumi wins after being pummeled around the ring, and then rolling Bozella up with an Azumi Sushi or 3, just to proper disorientate her and then win. But again, God knows. God knows. Moving on, then, the full card has been announced for Tae Honma's produce show. She has announced that she will be retiring from wrestling on October 13th in Shinjuku Face. However, she has announced that before that, she will be doing her first and only produce show, Pro Love 10. And she has announced that the main event will indeed be her versus Starlight Kid in a singles match on the 30th of August in Shinkiba First Ring. There is some other Stardom participation on that show. The full card is Tae Honma versus Starlight Kid, Makoto and Kaho Kobayashi versus Yuna Manas and Unagi Sayaka versus Kyusai Ninja Ranmaru and Hibiscus Me. Don't know who they are, but they're in this match. And then there is a 10-person rumble. Saki versus Sioriano versus Riko Kawahata versus Natsupoi versus Cherry versus Mike Rozaki versus Momotani. And then there are 3 more mystery entrants. And then there is a tag match, Miyuki Takase and Haruka Umasaki against the Colors team of Yuko Sakurai and Rina Amakora, Matt. So some really good matches there as well.
Yeah, again, Tae Honma, just another wrestler, not just in Joshi, but in all of wrestling. Hanging it up. It just seems like every time we turn around, it's always somebody that looks like that. They're going to further their career into something else. And it's obviously we've seen Tae Honma wrestle, a handful of matches, and a lot of the stuff that we cover. And she's still on top of her game, very much like a Mako Satomaro and a Nai Takahashi. And again, she's wrestling one of the best Joshis in all of wrestling and one Starlight Kid on this show. So good on her. That's what I would do. If I had the book and was booking my own show, I'm going to wrestle in the star caliber of Starlight Kid. I'm on my way out to have the best match possible. So yeah, I mean, that's like it's going to be a fun card, but this Tae Honma versus Starlight Kid, that's going to be the one that takes the cake for me.
Speaking of the match of the show, taking the cake and such things, Sareee-ISM Chapter 8 takes place on this upcoming Monday, 14th of July, 2025. A sellout, as all of the other ones have been from Shinjuku Face. We knew 4 of the matches. The 5th one has now been announced, and it has Stardom participation, as Yumiko Hotta and Kyoto Ito will be taking on Aya Sakura and Rian. So a little bit of a follow-on from the Saori, Ano, and Natsupoi produce show. I'm very much looking forward to Aya Sakura and Yumiko Hotta beating the hell out of each other. Just to remind you, the rest of the card is Sayaka Toyota versus Honori Hana, Dash Chisako versus Chi-Chi, Miku Kanai versus Natsupoi, and then in your main event, Sari and Takumi Aroha, the team that have now been christened Spark Rush, by the way, versus the hate team of Saya Kamatani and Natsuko Tora. So a very exciting Sareee-ISM card, as they all tend to be, Matt.
Yeah, we're getting probably, I know Kenta Kobashi, he has like a vote in like the wrestler of the year, and he even said it usually goes to like a man, usually goes to like a Tanahashi, an Okada, an Omega, and he was saying it's probably going to go to Sari or Saya Kamatani. That's who Kenta Kobashi, one of the greatest wrestlers of all time, that's who he may vote for. This is the first time they're going to be across the ring from each other. So it's going to be really interesting to see how that goes. And again, maybe we're not even talking, maybe Sari wins the 5-star. Maybe they're just planting the seeds for that championship match somewhere down the line. But obviously, that's the match everybody's looking forward to. I am, and then obviously I am as well. But right below that is Miku Kunai versus Natsupoi. I am so impressed by Miku Kunai. And I know this was the match they were supposed to have a few months ago, but then Natsupoi was injured, and then she came out and did the ring announcing because no days off Natsupoi. And then Soriano took her spot in what was a great match. So again, this whole card is looking really fun. I like how she brings back the legends for these shows. Obviously, we see Jaguar Yokota has been on a whole handful of them, and then we're getting Amika Hata and Kiryu Ito on this match against Aya Sakura and Stone Cold Rian. So maybe Stone Cold Rian is going to be hitting stunners all over the legends. That's right, absolutely. Dun 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 dun. Oh hell yeah! What? But cards again. These cards are always really fun, and they always give us a banger main event. So again, Sareee-ISM show. That's going to be early next week. Again, I believe Monday, and me and Andy Header will be covering that on the next episode of Talk Joshi, which again we are scheduled to record on the 17th. Fingers crossed.
Old gang signs Rian. Final match announcement from other promotions came out today. Actress Girls will be running Korakuen Hall on August 13th to celebrate the 10th anniversary of the company, and they've announced that two of their first roster members, Natsupoi and Soriano, will be on the card, and they will be taking on Natsuki and Yukina Uehara inside Korakuen Hall. So it's nice to see Natsupoi and Soriano going back to their roots. We saw that during their 10th anniversary show at Ota Ward, and we're seeing it again here. So that's going to be great for them to go back. Final thing, Matt, were you just going to say something about this card?
I was just going to say that to Natsupoi and Soriano, they're going back to the beginning because Black Sabbath invented tag team wrestling. So.
Black Sabbath invented Natsupoi. Indeed. Moving on then. Final thing before I make a hasty exit. Stardom in Fukushima will air on July 13th, which is this Sunday. It'll be Ame Sori's homecoming show, hence her being in the main event. It'll be coming at you from Pass Izaka. The full card is as follows. We open with a 6-woman tag. The team of Hina, Kyoko Katatsu, and Emma Maishima will take on the Cosmic Angels trio of Yuna Mizumori, Aya Sakura, and Sayaka Kurora. There's a 3-way Koguma versus Akira Kuragane versus Kikyo Furusawa. In a 6-woman tag match, we have got Stars, Hanan, Sayurita, and Momokogo taking on the EXV team of Waka Tsukiyama, Hanako, and Rian. Tag team match, Neo Genesis, Starlight Kid, and Miyu Amasaki will be taking on Natsuko Tora and Ruaka. Another tag team match, and for me, this is the match that will really impress. We have got Neo Genesis, Azumi, and Mei Seira taking on Mivida Loca, Suzu Suzuki, and Bozilla. So that's going to be very tasty. Keep an eye on that match. And then what is currently slated to be your main event, and will probably be your main event with it being Amisori's homecoming show. You've got the God's Eye team of Amisori, Zaki Kashima, and Lady C against the hate team of Saya Kamatani, Momo Watanabe, and Konami. There will be, I believe, no Rani Yagami on this show. No Rani Yagami on this show. No Hazuki on this show, as they will be participating in the Catch the Wave tournament for Pro Wrestling Wave.
Yeah, again, solid stuff, my friend. It's going to be interesting. Again, Lady C and Saya Kamatani on opposite ends, kind of maybe building towards their night one of the loaded 5-star Grand Prix. And again, Momo Watanabe and Amisori beating the crap out of each other. And you know what's probably going to happen? It's probably going to be Saki Kashima that is going to get the win in this match with all these.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. But, ladies and gentlemen, that does bring us to the end of the news. Don't forget, you can check out all of the news at talkjoshi.com. Everything we've talked about today is up on the site. Matt Turner will be guiding you through both New Blood and the Korakuen Hall show from the sick. Lots of things to get into there. But, Mr. Turner, I bid you farewell, good sir, and to the listeners, we'll be back next week to talk about Fukushima. Possibly the show from Wednesday, though the chances are, with it being a video on delay, me and Matt won't have had a chance to see it. But we will definitely be talking about Fukushima, and we will at some point release our bracketology for the 5-star Grand Prix. But we will be previewing the Sapporo show, which will have a full card announced by next week. So, Matt, it's been a pleasure, good sir, and I shall speak to you soon, my friend.
All right, buddy. Be safe. I'll catch up with you later. All right, folks. So, again, for those of you new to the show, I know we have new listeners all the time. So, Rob had hurt his back about 3 or 4 weeks ago. The shows I've been doing solo. Rob came back last week in kind of a limited capacity. Just yesterday, as of this recording, we recorded the Marigold Standard, and we went a little over an hour. And at the end, after we ended the record, he was in a lot of pain. So obviously we don't want Rob putting any more pressure on his lower back where his injury is. So we decided like, hey, we'll record, we'll talk about the 5-star, we'll do the news, and then I'll tag out a little over an hour in. So we were about an hour and 15 in. So that's roughly what we did yesterday. Obviously we want Rob to recover because we are going to be very busy towards the end of this month with all those big shows we talked about, the Korakuen, the Sapporo pay-per-view, and obviously the 5-star Grand Prix. So again, we're giving Rob this time to recover. He did send me the notes, as far as the attendance notes goes and whatnot and the timings of the match. So we're going to run through those, and then I'm going to just be breaking down the New Blood show as well as the Korakuen show, and then we're going to be talking about the Io and Kairi watch because there was a great match with Kairi and Roxanne Perez. So all right, folks, without further ado, let's get into Rob Goodwin's notes. This is the 4th New Blood Tag Team Champions, which are Rice or Bread, with Hanako and Waka having been champions for 190 days, and this will be their 4th title defense coming up in the main event of said show. The attendance notes are as follows. The attendance inside Tokyo Square was 153 people, which Stardom did mention about 2 days before the show is a sellout. Even though it's a sellout, this is still the lowest New Blood attendance since New Blood 2022. Stardom did sell 201 tickets to this same venue back at New Blood 18. My guess is they're just capping it at about 150. So 153 people. We have noticed over the last 5 or 6 New Blood shows that the attendance keeps going down. I do like this building inside Tokyo Square. It's small, it's intimate, it's very indie wrestling. The acoustics are really good. The crowd is really into everything. So until they get this New Blood concept onto a bigger venue, I'm all for them doing 150, 160 people. Again, we know that Stardom has done over 200 people in this venue, but I guess they're just capping it about 150, 155. And the wrestling is great. I love these New Blood shows because you're giving the wrestlers on the Stardom roster that normally don't get the time to tell their story. And again, there's some fantastic wrestlers outside of Stardom that are on these New Blood shows. So quick results are as follows. Match number 1, which we will not be talking about, and I'll get to that in a minute. Emma Maishia defeating Rina via the referee stoppage at 6 minutes and 30 seconds. I'll get to that in a moment. Then we go to Kyoto Kutatsu defeating Kyoko Furusawa, making her submit to a jumping with an armbar, 6 minutes and 28 seconds. Tag team action sees Rian and Hanako defeating Saran and Asuka, with Rian getting the win with the apricot roll-up, 13 minutes and 4 seconds. Semi-main event, 6-woman tag team action, God's Eye trio of Hina, Lady C, and Rana Yagami defeating Aya Sakura, Sayaka Kurara, and Akira Kuragami when Hina pins Akira with the ghetto clutch in 15 minutes and 23 seconds, just really planting the seeds and making their future Stardom Championship matchup just a little bit more, which obviously we'll talk about in the Korakuen show. Main event, New Blood Tag Team Championship, Rice or Bread, or as we call them, Hanako, and Waka defeating the Peach Lily team of Momo Kogo and Yuria Hime at 15 minutes and 23 seconds when Hanako hits a huge running lariat onto Yuria Hime. So, okay, folks, we shall get into this. Now, again, this show did take place on Friday morning, which was the 4th of July for us in the United States. I did not see this live. I did find out very quickly about Rena's injury. We talked about a little bit last week on the Marigold Standard. I'm just going to touch upon it here. I did see a clip of what had happened. Emma went for a springboard high cross body. I think she may have came up a little bit too high, or Rena was a half a step in. Accidents happen, and then when Rena took the bump, she just hit her head on the mat. Got a concussion. I believe it was Barb was the referee. He came in, stopped it immediately, which was a great job because you want to err on the side of caution. Stop the match. Emma does win by referee stoppage. Rena was taken to the hospital, revealed that she had a concussion, was taken out of the main event of the show, in the Korakuen show, just 2 days later. So what had happened was after I got done with everything on Friday, I went to go watch this show, and it wasn't up on YouTube. Later find out about a day or so that Stardom did take it down because they wanted to edit out this match because of the injury. Smart. I appreciate that. I'm not one to watch matches that have injuries. So obviously I did not see this match. Even if I did, I wouldn't have rated it. So we will move on. So technically, in my notes, the opening match was Kyoto Katatsu versus Kyoko Furusawa. This was a great match with the two of them really doing some low kicks, trying to feel each other out. I'm a big fan of Kyoto Katatsu. Again, she works that shoot style that I really enjoy. Again, last year she had a fantastic match at Josh Barnett's Bloodsport Bushido against Konami in those Bloodsport rules. Really great stuff. We did see some great back and forth chain wrestling on the ground as well. Kyoko with some big forearms. Kyoko comes back with the leg kicks. And then Kyoko Furusawa does that headstand into the rolling knee bar. Love that. And then she transitions that into the ankle lock. Katatsu is able to fire back with some big slaps and some kicks as well. Eventually, Kyoto Katatsu hits an enziguri that stuns Kyoko Furusawa, and Kyoko Katatsu puts Furusawa in the armbar, forcing her to tap out. This was a great opener. Really great way to set the pace for this for this show. 3 3/4 stars. Pardon me. Yeah, that was Kyoko Furusawa and Kyoto Katatsu. That's a tongue twister, folks. So I had Katatsu and Furusawa. Well, I should have just called it that way. But Furusawa does a great job with the knee bars and the ankle locks. And obviously Katatsu, who has that shoot style background, knows how to counter certain things. But eventually, though, she puts her away with an armbar. Excellent stuff. Again, 3 3/4 stars. We go to match number 2 of Rion and the masked Hanako, not Hanako, Hanako, taking on Saran and Asuka, not WWE's Asuka, but the new Asuka and Joshi. Rihanna and Hanako worked great together. And Hanako, she was on the Korakuen show. I think she's somebody that Stardom should look at bringing in more on a more regular basis. Very much like a Miku Kanai. I'm a big fan of Hanako. I thought she worked really well with Rion. Again, obviously Rion is part of EXV. We need more members for EXV with, again, Mina leaving, Micah and Xena on the shelf. So I thought these two worked really well together. And this was a great match. Match starts off Rion, Stone Cold Rion. She comes out with a big arm drag and dropkick combination to Saran. Eventually, though, Hanako, she comes in. She's so impressive. Very high-speed style offense. Again, we need high-speed challengers from May Sarah. It's right here, folks. It's right here. Excellent stuff. She did this really cool high-speed spot where she does she basically does this roll through into an SDF. So not only is she great at the high-speed style of wrestling, but she's really great at transitioning it into submissions, which I like. And then she did this, the Great Muta style handspring back elbow. I thought that was terrific. Saran is able to come back with a Casadora double stomp, not once, not twice, but 3 times. Really liked how she did that. It was like 1, no, not enough. 2, no, not enough. 3, not enough. I thought that was great. Again, these non-Stardom wrestlers in this match, especially Saran and Hanako, really shine for this. Asuka, she comes in, she overpowers Hanako. She eventually tags out to Rion, and then we get this really great closing sequence with Asuka and Rion. Great stuff back and forth. Eventually, though, we do see Hanako hits a missile dropkick onto Asuka. That opens up the door for Rion to hit her version of the roll-up, known as the apricot, for the 3 count. 3 3/4 stars for me. Again, a really solid stuff. I would love to see the other 3 non-Stardom wrestlers, especially Hanako, in Stardom on a more regular basis because her style fits perfectly with this new Stardom crew here. Match number 3, our semi-main event, as we see the God's Eye trio of Lady C, Hina, and Ranigami taking on Akira Kuragami, Aya Sakura, and Sayaka Kurora. So some mixing with Cosmic Angels and Mi La Vida Loca. Match starts off again. We know what we're building towards. We have that big championship match coming up in Korakuen Hall in just a few days. We start with Hina, the future Stardom champion, and Akira, the number 1 contender. They start off with some forum exchange. They go back and forth with some wrestling. Akira gets the advantage using her kicks, brutal, violent kicks to Hina. I thought that was excellent stuff. Lady C, she comes in, she cleans house. We get the giant swing onto one Akira. Again, Lady C, we're building her up for the 5-star, and I'm so excited to see what she's going to do in this match. Eventually, we get this great kick and form exchange between Lady C and Aya. Excellent stuff there. Lady C winds up winning said battle with the big running boot to Aya Sakura. Rani Yagami, she comes in. Her and Sayaka Kurora have a really great exchange with Sayaka Kurora doing a great job playing the underneath baby face. We know that she can take a licking and keep on ticking. Rana is really punishing her with the strikes and submissions. Aya eventually comes back with that twisting forearm. Really great stuff. I love that. Eventually, though, we go back to Hina and Akira because that's the big story we're telling in this match. Akira locks Hina in the crossface. We get some great back and forth exchanges with Hina and Akira. You don't know which way it's going to go. Hina uses her experience to get the advantage with the pump handle Uranagi for a 2 count. She then hits the big ending. That scores her a 2 count. We do see the other members of this match, Lady C, Ranigami, Aya, and Sayaka, respectively. They come in, they hit their waterfall finishes, meaning everybody kind of hits a big move. We do see Akira hits the half-house suplex for a 2 count. She goes for another one. However, Hina is able to get out of said half-house suplex, rolls up Akira with a ghetto clutch for the 3 count. Another great match. 3 3/4 stars for me. Folks, we go to the main event of this show. Waka and Hanako making their 4th defense of the New Blood Tag Team Championship. They'll be taking on Momo Kogo and Yuria Hime. Yuria Hime trying to prove her worth into Stars, now known as Peach Lily. First of all, Yuria Hime, her aura level has been building and building. New look, new hair, new gear. Looked like okay, like this is Yuria Hime's coming out party on this New Blood show. Literally the point that everybody was talking about Yuria Hime. Just the star power that she has already and that she's going to have and keep evolving. Again, I hope she gets a whole bunch of wins towards the end of the summer, beginning of fall, and earns her spot into Stars because she works well with the members of Stars, especially Momo Kogo. Her and Momo Kogo, they can make a run if they properly keep building the way that they're building this team up. They can make a huge dent in this year's the big tournament in the fall, the Goddess of Stardom Tag League. Hopefully that's the way they go because I thought they were great together. We get some great teamwork with Momo Kogo and Yuria Hime early on to Hanako. Eventually, Momo Kogo hits a satellite arm drag to Hanako, and then she hits a 360 body press for a 2 count onto the biggest and strongest member of this match. We get a Momo Kogo and Waka forearm exchange. Again, I'm really excited to see what Waka's going to do in the 5-star Grand Prix because she's really brought it here. Hanako, she overpowers Yuria Hime and locks her into a Boston Crab and then switches into the half crab. Eventually, though, Momo Kogo comes in for the save. Momo Kogo and Yuria Hime, they hit dueling drop kicks a la the Rock and Roll Express. Excellent there. Yuria Hime then follows it up with a big dive to the floor. Eventually, Hanako gets in the ring. She's all worse for wear. Yuria Hime hits that step-up leg drop, the shining leg drop for a 2 count, which a lot of people popped on, and they bit on the falsie. Eventually, though, we do see Hanako. She starts overpowering Yuria Hime. Waka takes out Momo Kogo. That opens up the door for Hanako to hit a big stung suplex and lariat for the 3 count. Another successful defense for the champions, Rice or Bread, or as we call them here on the Stardom Cast, Wanako. 3 3/4 stars for me. Congratulations to Waka and Hanako getting your V4. So really excellent stuff. A really solid match. A great match. And really just another solid New Blood outing. Again, I'm loving this Peach Lily team of Yuria Hime and Momo Kogo. And again, I want to see Hanako and Stardom more. Again, she works really well with that high-speed style. Put her in there with May Sarah. Come on, Stardom. Put her in there with May Sarah because, as I said before, we need challengers for the high-speed championship. Folks, that takes us to the second And our final show review of this podcast, just some pre-show notes that one Rob Goodwin has given us, that Hina has been the champion for 132 days. This is her first reign, and this is her fourth title defense going into this match with Akira Kuragami, and she's the 12th future of Stardom champion. This will also be Akira Kuragami's first ever shot at any title in Stardom. And then we do have the attendance notes are as follows. The announced attendance inside Korakuen Hall was 1,476. This continues a trend of 16 out of the last 17 Korakuen Hall shows to exceed more than 1,000 people, and now is the 12th in a row to surpass 1,000 people. Made more impressive when you consider the fact there's no big Sai Kamatani match, there's no big Starlight Kid championship match, the fact that they had to redo the Artists of Stardom championship match because it was supposed to be Fukin Death, Konami, and Rina challenging Azumi, Miyu Amasaki, and Starlight Kid. But again, obviously, Rina getting hurt 2 days before. Very wise for them to err on the side of caution and scrap that match and just give us a phenomenal 12-person tag match. So this is 30 more people than they drew at the last Korakuen Hall shows. 5 out of the last 8 Korakuen Hall shows have either been a sellout or a close to sellout. And I believe this was announced as a sellout. 1,476 people. We know that they can get around 200 more people standing room only, but as far as seats goes, this was, I believe, announced as a sellout or at least close to it. So again, 1,476 people inside Korakuen Hall. Just a massive number. Even if you had championship matches on that, that's a massive number. And in fact, no big Sai match, no big Goddess match, no big Starlight Kid Wonder match. Pretty insane. Folks, we go to match number 1, which is pretty much the pre-show match. Kyoko Furusawa taking on one Momo Kogo. Match starts off. Oh, I'm sorry. Let me give the quick results. I'm excited, folks. So match number 1 had Momo Kogo defeating Kyoko Furusawa with the Nectar Peach, 7 minutes and 29 seconds. We go to 6-woman tag team action to start off said show. Miyu Vida Loca of Suzuki Aoki, and Bozilla defeating the God's Eye team of Amisori Lady C and Kyoka Katatsu when Bozilla pins Amisori with the sit-out powerbomb, the Liger Bomb, 12 minutes and 32 seconds. 10-woman tag action sees the team of Saki Kashima, Yuna Mizumori, Aya Sakura, Sayaka Aurora, and Yuria Hime defeating Hazuki, Kagama, Waka, Tsukiyama, Hanako, and Rian when Saki Kashima is able to steal the win once again on Rian at 10 minutes and 55 seconds. We go to tag team matches. Neo Genesis of Mei Sarah Miyu Amasaki defeating the, again, Hanako and Emma. Again, Hanako and Mei Sarah worked so well together in this match. We'll get into it. When Mei Sarah pins Emma Mashima with the big dropkick, 8 minutes and 51 seconds. Special singles match, Sherry's last match before her hiatus, taking on her fellow God's Eye teammate and Rana Yugami. Sherry picking up the win with the Ruin, 13 minutes and 18 seconds. Semi-main event, Future of Stardom Championship on the line with Hina defeating Akira Kuragami with the Mad Splash at 13 minutes and 24 seconds. And the main event, oh boy howdy, this was amazing. 12 women tag team match. Hana, Saida, Natsupoi teaming Soriano, Starlight Kid, and Azumi defeating the hate team of Sai Kamatani, Natsuko Tora, Momo Watanabe, Konami, Ruaka, and Fukin Death when it is Natsupoi pinning Sai Kamatani after Sai Kamatani ate double team moves from every team in this match and then hits the Pharaoh ring, 20 minutes and 17 seconds. Really excellent stuff. Following her pinfall victory over Amisori, Bozilla declares herself as the new number 1 contender for Azumi's Strong Championship. Rob and I talked about an hour ago about that is going to be on the next Korakuen show with Bozilla challenging Azumi for the New Japan Strong Championship. Also, again, we talked about Hina was then challenged after her match against Sayaka Kurora. Hina, after getting her win over Akira, was then challenged by the winner of the Cinderella tournament and won Sayaka Kurora. And again, that match is official for the Sapporo Rendezvous show on the 21st. Soriano, and finally, has accepted the challenge for one Natsupoi. Soriano is not Natsupoi. Soriano has accepted the challenge for one Starlight Kid for the Wonder of Stardom Championship. So obviously, we know we're getting that match. And again, we did talk about BMI 2000 will be challenging on the next Korakuen Hall show. BMI 2000 is challenging Wing Gory for the Goddess of Stardom Tag Team Championship. So a lot of great stuff on tap for Stardom, especially towards the end of the month. We have 5 championship matches and the start of the 5-star Grand Prix, all within like a 7-8 day span. So, folks, time to get excited if you're not already excited. So, yeah, excellent stuff, folks. Let me get a little drink of water here, and let's get into these fantastic matches from the over 1,400 people inside Korakuen Hall. All right, pre-show match. Momo Kogo and Kyoko Furusawa start off with a big lockup and some great technical wrestling. Momo Kogo gets the early advantage with a big drop kick. Kyoko Furusawa shows really great fighting spirit. Again, only a handful of months into her career. Great fighting spirit with some forearms, a rolling knee bar. Excellent stuff there. Momo Kogo comes back with a 619. That scores her a 2 count. Momo Kogo goes into that rolling shoulder lock. We'll be looking at that rolling shoulder lock quite a bit in the 5-star Grand Prix. Kyoko is able to escape, and then she escapes the rolling shoulder lock. Momo Kogo pours on the offense. She goes for the Nectar Peach. Kyoko is able to roll through, locks in the flying octopus attack, and then rolls into a 2 count near fall. A lot of people bid on that. Excellent stuff there. Eventually, Momo hits a big drop kick again, and then goes back to the Nectar Peach, hits it for the pinfall. Big win for Momo Kogo. Starting out Korakuen Hall, getting some momentum going into the 5-star Grand Prix. 3.25 stars for me. We go to the next contest, folks, as we have Amisori, Lady C, and Kyoto Katatsu representing God's Eye, taking on the Mi Valido Loca trio of Azuki Aoki, Bozilla, and Suzu Suzuki. Bozilla just dominates, pardon me, early on. I mean, just dominates early on, and then she hits these machine gun chops onto Katatsu. Again, very Kenta Kobashi style, just really brutal stuff. Aoki and Suzu Suzuki, they look great as a tag team. They look terrific. Again, we talked about a couple weeks ago how great Akira and Suzu are as a team. Maybe Aoki and Suzu, maybe that's the team to chase for the goddess belts, because they were great. Look, excellent stuff. Really, really, really in sync stuff with Suzu and Aoki. That sets up the drive-by on one Kyoto Katatsu. Lady C, she comes in. She's had enough. She comes in. Big lariats, or not lariats, big boots, big chops for all. She locks in Aoki and Suzu Suzuki in the double ab stretch. Again, Lady C, somebody that maximizes every second that she gets in the ring. Excellent stuff there. Amisori and Aoki, they have a forearm fest. Really brutal and violent stuff back and forth. I am all for that. Bozil and Amisori, they tear it up here towards the end. That's a match I want to see. Really, really great stuff. They are in the same block in the 5-star Grand Prix. That is a match that I'm really, really looking forward to. Lady C and Amisori towards the end of this match, again, they were the rival Tokyo Towers back in the 2023 Goddess of Stardom Tag Team Tournament. Amisori was part of God's Eye at that time. Lady C was part of Queen's Quest at that time. Now they're in the same faction. Again, that's another tag team I would love to see make a run at the Goddess of Stardom Tag League, because they looked really great towards the end. Ultimately, though, we come back down to the mini match of Bozilla and Amisori. Excellent stuff there. Bozilla hits a Styles Clash onto Amisori. What's up? How about that? That opens up the door for the big Liger Bomb for the 3 count. Bozilla looks so dominant in this match, and rightfully so. She looks like an absolute killer. We're giving her some momentum, not only for the 5-star Grand Prix, but for her to have that challenge against the Zumi coming up a few days before the 5-star Grand Prix at the end of the month. Great showing here for Amisori. Phenomenal showing for Bozilla. 3 3/4 stars. We go to this next match of Saki Kashima, Yuria Hime, Yuna Mizumori, Sayaka Kurora, and Aya Sakura taking on Hanako, Rion, Waka, Hazuki, and Kaguma. So some FWC love here on Hazuki's 11th anniversary. I know that Hazuki did say after her 10th anniversary a year ago that in the next year she will win the Wonder Stardom Championship. That did not happen. I was like, I think it's going to happen sometime in the first quarter of the new year. Did not happen, but that did not stop anybody from giving some Hazuki love. Again, we know Hazuki and Kaguma, they're going to be doing some stuff outside of Stardom. They worked really well here with the other members of EXV. Maybe when they come back from their hiatus, that's where they go. Because, again, Micah is on the shelf until probably the end of the year. We don't know when Zine is coming back. They worked really well together. And if you remember Micah's last match before her taking time off to get her arm repaired, that they did Fukuoka Triple Crazy, Micah works really well with Hazuki and Kaguma. So if you're asking me world faction I'd like to see FWC go to, I think it'd be EXV. Might have to rename the team, But I think EXV, they fit in really well. And again, you don't have Mikey, your main member here, but they worked phenomenal here with Rion, Waka, and Hanako. Cosmic Angels, they don't like the Kuma dance. They don't like the Kuma dance whatsoever. Sakagura hits a big drop kick to the bear. We get some FWC teamwork onto Yuria Hime. Yuna hits the big shotgun drop kick over to Waka. Hanako, she comes in here and she just basically stops the Sakakura dominance. Sakakura was shined up really well in the beginning of this match, but then Hanako's like, no, absolutely not. Let's stop this right now. We get some phenomenal Ricer Bread teamwork. Again, this team of FWC and EXV worked really well. In the beginning, FWC teamwork. As we're building towards the end, we get some Ricer Bread or Wanako teamwork. Excellent stuff there. Hazuki hits the boot scrapes onto Yuna Mizumori, and then we get apron dives from all. Everybody does the running apron dive. I thought that was really cool because you have 4 sections of the ring, so you have your big high spots. I thought that was excellent. Aya Sakura, she hits a big head kick onto Rion. Cosmic Angels do all the work. So we have Aya hits the head kick. Starts off. Yuna hits a lariat onto Rion. She bumps, sells. She comes up. Aya hits a head kick. She turns around, feeds. Sakura hits the big spear. And then Saki Kashima comes in and takes the pin. And I loved it. It was like Cosmic Angel, Cosmic Angel, Cosmic Angel, Saki Kashima, steals the win. Again, Yuna hits the big lariat. Aya hits the big head kick. Sayaka hits the big spear. And then Saki's like, nope, I got it. Hits the 3 count. Really, really fun match. Again, I think FWC works really well with EXV. I hope that's the way they go. 3.5 stars for me. Folks, we go to this next high-speed style tag match as Mei Seira, the high-speed champion, teaming with Miyu Amasaki to take on Emma Mashimiya and Hanako. Again, Hanako, put her in Stardom full-time. Give her a championship match with Mei Seira because, oh boy, howdy, they worked well together. Miyu Amasaki and Emma, they start off. Miyu uses her experience advantage, really grinding the young rookie down, Emma, with a headlock. But again, Emma comes back with that high-speed style offense. Emma and Hanako here worked really well with the high-speed style offense with Mei Seira. You have 2 ready-made challengers for that belt, and the crowd was really into it. That was the best stuff for me in this match, was Mei Seira and Hanako, just their high-speed style offense. Hanako hits the handspring elbow. Mei Seira is able to come back with that 1 leap, 1 jump Joshi-style dropkick. Just great stuff back and forth. Excellent near falls. Eventually, we get the Neo Genesis 4 boots to Emma in the corners. Emma comes back with a head scissors and a dropkick onto the high-speed champion. Emma with a few roll-ups onto Mei Seira, almost getting a 3 count. Eventually, though, Mei Seira is able to get the advantage, hits a running dropkick right into the head of the young rookie Emma for the 3 count. 3.5 stars. Again, a really solid match, but again, I know it's like the 3rd time I'm saying it, but I'm going to keep saying it. Mei Seira has 2 ready-made challenges for the high-speed championship in this match with Emma and Hanako. Right there. I mean, you can just do them back-to-back. 3.5 stars for me. Folks, we go to match number 4, Shuri versus Rani Yugami. Shuri's final match before she takes her hiatus and levels up. I did think she said she's going to come back as Super Shuri, which, sure, I'm all for. I'm all for because, boy howdy, when she comes back, folks, you're in a lot of trouble. Low kick trade-off between the two, obviously. Rana just come out in her Shuri-style gear. I really like that. Low kick trade-off between the two, and then we get some great ground grappling. And then back to the lockups, which, again, I love a big lockup, but it started with, like, striking and then ground grappling, and then it went to back to the lockup. I'm like, oh, that's the intensity of this match. Really enjoyed that. Rana gets really the first advantage of this match with a cross arm breaker. Shuri's able to reverse, get out of the cross arm breaker, and then she pummels Rana with kicks. Rana then hits some knee strikes to Shuri's arm, breaking down Shuri's arm. Like that. Shuri comes back to her own in a code breaker and a running penalty kick for a 2 count. We get some German suplex exchanges between the two. We do see Rana taking a beating, but then she shows up with some great fire, really firing up on the former World of Stardom champion. I really like that. Hits that jumping title crush to Shuri for a 2 count. Shuri hits another German suplex and a head kick onto Rana Yugami. That scores her a 2 count. Rana comes back with a head kick of her own. Shuri comes back with an even more violent head kick. Shuri then eventually strings up all those crazy head kicks and forearms to open up the door to hit the Ruin for the 3 count. This is a phenomenal match. My 2nd favorite match from this show. My 3rd favorite match from the show, 4 stars for me. Again, this was a really solid show. but it really built up towards these last 3 matches, and an excellent showing from Rana Yagami. So excited for the opportunity that she's getting in this year's 5-star Grand Prix and showing what she can do. Excellent stuff. A really great match for Sherry to go out on as she does take her break from Stardom and Pro Wrestling, hopefully able to recover on some of the injuries of this insane style that she's worked in the last 5 years. That hard-hitting style, my favorite style of wrestling. Again, 4 stars, excellent stuff, and cannot wait to see Sherry back in Stardom. Oh, pardon me, folks. We go to our semi-main event, Future of Stardom Championship. Hina taking on one Akira. Hina has going in this match with 3 successful title defenses, and Hina, very much like Hana and Arena, is having really eye-opening matches for this Future of Stardom Championship. When Hana first won this belt back about 4 years ago, she started having really, really good matches. It's just like to open up the pay-per-views back in 2021 and 2022, and you're just like, oh, wow. Hana is somebody that is going to be a future star in this company. Fast forward 2024 and 2025. Obviously, 2024, she wins the 5-star Grand Prix. 2024, she's a semifinalist in the 5-star, wins the Goddess belts, wins the Goddess tournament. She's one of the best wrestlers in this company, which is saying a lot because we have a lot of phenomenal wrestlers in this company. So, again, I'll start with her future stardom reign. Rena, we saw what she did. She broke the record, had phenomenal matches. She's going to crush in the 5-star Grand Prix. Hina's not far behind because every single defense that she's had has been absolutely next level, and this is no exception. This was Akira's best match thus far. I think she's going to have, obviously she's young in her career, she's going to have better matches, but this was an eye-opening performance, not only for Hina, but for Akira as well. Again, we did a great job over these last 2 or 3 shows building up this match between the two. We get a form exchange to start off between Akira and Hina. We get a violence party with Akira in the corner. Akira really laying in those strikes. Hina stops the violence from Akira with a judo throw. Hina then hits several body slams to Akira to try to slow her down after the judo throw. Back to the forearm exchange we go, which Hina actually gets the better of. Then she's able to use her judo to take Akira down, locking in the Boston Crab, and then she transitions that into the STF. Hina goes to the top rope for the Mad Splash, but we do see Akira. She stops the Mad Splash, slamming Hina off the top rope. She then hits, by she, I mean Akira, it does the Russian leg sweep into the cross face. Really great selling of this of the cross face to Hina. Really looked like she was going to tap out there. Akira, then, we've seen her since her debut, does the half-out suplex, but now she's doing the locomotion half-out suplex. I'm like, oh, what a big match to break that out. You know, it's your big championship match, semi-main event, Korakuen Hall, 1,400 people. I really like that. Excellent stuff there. She hits the half-out suplex for a 2 count, goes for a second one. She's able to escape. Hina escapes the second half-out suplex, the locomotion style. She goes for the Gedo clutch. Akira is able to escape the Gedo clutch, hits a brutal buzzsaw kick, and then another half-out suplex for a 2 count. We do see that Hina goes back to the Gedo clutch, what got her the win on New Blood 2 days before. Again, storytelling. Gedo clutch only scores her a 2.9 count. Hina is able to come back, weathering the storm that is Akira in this match. Hits the Hina special and the STO. The STO scored her a 2 count. Even though it scored her 2 count, it left Akira down on the mat long enough for Hina to finally hit the Mad Splash for the 3 count. A successful title defense. A V4 for Hina. I had this at 4.25 stars. I thought this was absolutely terrific. Akira really showed out in this match. Great falsies. Again, they played off their tag matches that they had on Friday and the week before with the Gedo clutch, with the half-out suplex. Excellent stuff. And now that Akira has the locomotion style half-out suplex, but I never seen anybody do before. So that can be like her big finish, especially if she's in the 5-star. I don't expect her to win if she does qualify. I don't expect her to win a lot of matches, but that could be a great falsie. They teased the Gedo clutch twice in this match. 1, Akira being able to get out of, and 2, Hina getting the pinfall, but getting a 2.9 count, and they really built up perfectly to the Mad Splash, and they did a great job putting over really the violence and the hard hitting that was Akira in this match. I'm so excited for the future of these 2 wrestlers. Obviously, Hina's been wrestling a handful of years, but still very young. Again, I think she's only 18 years old. Akira only wrestling less than a year, and these 2 are fantastic. This is the future of Stardom right before our eyes. Again, 4.25 stars for me. Just a phenomenal, phenomenal match. Speaking of phenomenal matches, folks, we get a makeshift main event. Again, this was supposed to be Azumi, Starlight Kid, and Miyu Amasaki defending the artist belts against Konami, Fuki, and Death, and one Rina. Again, with Rina's injury, we mixed a whole bunch of things up, and wow, did we get a heck of a main event as we have. I mean, break this down. Azumi, Starlight Kid, Starbomb. Natsupoi, Soriano, Suripoi. Hanan, Saida, Wingori, your tag champs. So we have three really phenomenal tag teams there. Again, Azumi, former high-speed champion, Starlight Kid, your current, or not only a former high-speed champion, your current New Japan Strong champion, Starlight Kid, former high-speed champion, your current Wonder of Stardom champion, Natsupoi and Soriano, two former Wonder of Stardom champions, and one of the best tag teams in all of wrestling, in my opinion, the best tag team of all of wrestling, Wingori. So, like, what a great, again, 6 wrestlers, but 3 teams. Excellent stuff there. And then the opposite end, you have the best wrestler, in my opinion, all of wrestling right now. Sai Kamatani, World of Stardom champion. Momo Watanabe, ass kicker. Konami, ass kicker. Toru and Nuwaka, great tag team. Your number 1 contenders for those belts. And Fukin Death is your wild card because you never know when she's going to sneak in a victory. You never know when that's going to happen. Match starts off with some high-speed action with Azumi and Fuki and Death. And then we get to the Hate Brawl. Wild brawl in this match. Then we get a really great sequence with Momo Watanabe and Soriano. You're like, oh man, that's a singles match I would love to see. Unfortunately, they are not in each other's blocks in the 5-star, but really excellent stuff. We get some heat onto Soriano. And then who makes the save? Starlight Kid. And we get some teamwork with Starlight Kid and Soriano. And you're like, I know we're coming up on a championship match in a few weeks. Wow, what a great little makeshift team they had. Like Starlight Kid, she comes in the ring. She takes out majority of the members of Hate with that headlock, head scissors takeover, which is just phenomenal. And we just get the two of them kind of running roughshod for a moment or two on all the members of Hate. And I was like, wow, Starlight Kid, obviously great team with Momo Watanabe a couple years ago, teamings with Starlight Zumi quite a bit. But yeah, her and Soriano, phenomenal. Excellent stuff there. I really, really enjoyed that. Starlight Kid gets the advantage. Standing moonsault on the Konami, that scores her a 2 count. Starlight Kid goes to the top rope. Konami is able to stop her. We get a top rope fight between the two, which Starlight Kid does win. Hits the top rope arm drag. That breaks down into a mini BMI 2000 versus Wingori match against Smart, because what's probably going to be the main event on the next show in the same building, Wingori versus BMI 2000. So Smart planting the seeds there, just giving a little bit of an appetizer of a match that you're going to see in that same building in just a few weeks' time. So I really like that. Really exciting stuff there. We get dueling BMI 2000 splashes. Eventually, Hanan gets the advantage back. 17 to roll up on Ruwaka for a 2.9 count. Sai Kamatani and Natsupoi. Now we're going to tease that match here. Now they haven't touched really at all in this match as we're getting towards the end. Now they're going to throw down. Sai Kamatani and Natsupoi, they are throwing down. I made mention 3 years ago, probably about halfway through Kamatani, probably about halfway through Kamatani's Wonder of Stardom Championship run. Her striking went from really good to next level. I mean, her striking really came a long way really fast. And Natsupoi, again, she's deceptively small, but she is our murder pixie. These two beat the crap out of each other. This is like Julie and Tam. This is like Shuri and Utami. These two are laying into each other in the middle of Korakuen Hall. And this match is just building. Really excellent stuff. Natsupoi hits a basement dropkick onto one side Kamatani. And then we do see some great mutual love teamwork, again, with the Starlight Kid and Natsupoi. Sai Kamatani, she starts running roughshod through Natsupoi. She starts making her comeback with a little bit of help of the members of Hate, but she's really beating down Natsupoi. And then I love how we get the cracks in the armor of your World of Stardom champion. Sai Kamatani is looking like the biggest badass in this match, and rightfully so. She is your World of Stardom champion. She is your big main eventer. She is your biggest star. And how do they slow down the champion? Soripoi teamwork. Then that leads into Starbomb teamwork. And then that leads into Wingori teamwork. And I like that because you literally like, how are we going to take down this dominant champion? Hey, we got 3 great tag teams here. Let's just hit. So we get a Soripoi, they hit one spot. Starbomb, Starlight Kid, Azumi, they hit one spot. And then Wingori, they come and they hit one spot on Sai Kamatani. I really, really like that. Momo Watanabe and Konami, they come in with a kick sandwich to Natsupoi. And then we do see that sets up for Sai Kamatani to hit the Star Crusher onto Natsupoi. Natsupoi escapes the Star Crusher with the fairy magic for a 2.999 count. I thought that was excellent. We get waterfall style finishes between all the other members of this match. So again, everybody hits big spots back and forth. We're getting major pops from the crowd. They're all into this. Is just a phenomenal match Then Soriano, she comes in, she helps out Natsupoi. We do hit the onside Kamatani. They do hit the fairy ring Tom's Tundra combination. I thought that was great. Again, everybody hits the waterfall finish, but then who's the one to really help out Natsupoi? Her best friend and her tag partner, Soriano. And again, this is another crack in the armor of Saya Kamatani. They had the tag teams beat up Saya Kamatani 3 minutes earlier. Momo Watanabe and Konami, they come in for the save. Waterfall finishes. We do see that Natsupoi still a little worse from where? From that beatdown that she took from Momo, Konami, and Saya Kamatani. So we do have Soriano. She comes in to help out her best friend. Again, they hit their big tag team finisher, the Ferial Ring Tom's Tundra combination onto one Saya Kamatani. That opens up the door for Natsupoi to hit the Ferial Gift, the top rope splash, and then the Ferial Ring onto Saya Kamatani for the 3 count. Natsupoi pinning Saya Kamatani in the middle of the ring. 4.5 stars. This is, I made mention last week with that 10-person tag with Hate versus the Neo Cosmic Angels. Is probably my favorite 10-person tag match of all time. Put it up there with the Canadian Stampede match back in 1997. This might be my favorite 12-person tag match of all time. The way this built, the way everybody looked really good, the way you're able to tell the story of BMI 2000 versus Wingori, again, that you're getting soon. Momo Watanabe and Konami just being absolute killers. Fukiin Death really throwing her high-speed style into the middle of this match. And again, Saya Kamatani really towards the end of this match looking really dominant, like who is going to stop me? I beat Tam in this building. I beat Suzu Suzuki in this building. Who's going to stop me? Tag move after tag move after tag move. Waterfall finishes. Anu comes in for the help. Again, Pharaoh Ring, Tom's Tundra combination on the Saya Kamatani that opens up the door for a really great closing sequence with Natsupoi hitting that twisting splash, the Pharaoh Gift, and the Pharaoh Ring right on the head of Saya Kamatani for the 3 count. I'm willing to bet a decent amount of money or beer that Natsupoi is going to hit the Pharaoh Gift into the Pharaoh Ring combination onto Saya Kamatani for a near fall coming up at the pay-per-view at the end of the month because they built it up here. Again, 4.5 stars, excellent stuff. Again, I made mention Bozilla comes out, challenges Azumi for the next Korakuen show. And again, Sareee-ISM does say to Starlight Kid, they're on the same team, but she does say, you know what, I do now feel worthy of a title shot. I do now feel worthy of the title shot. Again, I know a lot of people like, the challenge was there. How come she didn't accept it? I think because they wanted to at first build Natsupoi and Saya Kamatani. I think that if they built them both at the same time, they kind of would have taken away from each other. I would have taken either way. Again, this show on Sapporo is just about sold out. By the time we get there, this is going to sell out. And with back-to-back championship matches with Soriano challenging Starlight Kid for the Wonder Belt, and then Natsupoi challenging one Saya Kamatani for the World Belt. This is going to be a really great card, depending how the rest of the card flushes out. Again, we do have Hina against his Sayaka Kurora, so Cosmic Angels challenging for 3 belts, and depending on how the rest of the card shapes out, this is going to just be another phenomenal must-see pay-per-view from Stardom. Folks, that will end it as far as our show reviews go. There's only one thing left to do, and that is go to our Io and Kairi watch. Now, as far as the Io section goes, we just really build towards Io versus Rhea Ripley, which is coming up on Evolution 2 Electric Boogaloo, more than likely going to be the main event. Io and Rhea Ripley this weekend, Evolution 2. My guess is just because, I mean, Io was on a run at the end of last year, beginning of this year, almost wins the Royal Rumble, puts on a great performance, wins the championship on Monday Night Raw against Rhea Ripley, has the greatest women's match on American soil, and probably the greatest women's match. Well, if it's the greatest match on American soil, then it is the greatest women's match in the history of WrestleMania with Bianca Belair and Rhea Ripley. Has a great match with Stephanie Vacker the night after, is getting over like crazy. The people love Io, and they just don't do it with her. So I just think that maybe they're just going in a different direction. I just think Rhea Ripley is going to win this belt on Evolution, which is weird because the build's been kind of weird. It's been kind of weird. I don't know. I could be wrong. I think again Rhea Ripley, she's great in the ring. She's the biggest women's star in all of wrestling. Nobody can dispute that fact. That's going to be a great match. But I think there's more to do with Io. But again, we shall see. We shall see. I have a theory, which I'll get into in a moment. Let's get into this match. Kairi taking on Roxanne Perez. We get early heat on the Kairi. Roxanne Perez is able to duck the cutlass early on in this match and block it, which again, they build towards. I'll get into that, the reason why. We get some back and forth near falls between the two, several flash pins for a 2 count. Kairi then is able to hit the head scissors and a running elbow onto one Roxanne Perez. That Roxanne Perez, as a heel, she tries to retreat. Kairi's like, absolutely not. Kairi then runs off the apron with a forearm smash, and then back in the ring they go, which Roxanne Perez gets the advantage by breaking down Kairi's arm. Kairi's able to come back with a dropkick and a flipping neck breaker. Roxanne Perez sells to the corner. Kairi hits a running sliding corner D. Kairi hits a corner sliding D, and then we do see Roxanne Perez. She gets the advantage back by going back to the arm. She hits that double jump moonsault for a 2 count. Roxanne Perez stays on Kairi's arm, hitting a single arm DDT and a handstand knee drop for a 2 count. Very much like what Johnny Robbie did this past weekend to pick up a few wins over at Marigold. Kairi then hits a top rope elbow smash and the Japanese slam. Kairi then hits a really brutal sick cutlass. They did a great job building that up. Eventually, though, we do see Raquel Rodriguez. She gets involved. Kairi hits a dive onto Raquel to take her out. Roxanne Perez takes advantage of that. She beats up Kairi, throws her in the ring. It looks like she's going to hit the pop rocks for the 3 count. However, Kairi blocks the pop rocks, and then she wins with a backslide. Same move that Kerry Von Erich defeated Ric Flair with about some 40 years ago to win the NWA Championship. So Kairi getting the win against Roxanne Perez via the backslide. Eventually, though, Raquel comes in, 2-on-1 beat down onto one Kairi. Asuka comes in, makes the save, and then we do get a post-match interaction where we do see Asuka and Kairi reuniting as the Kabuki Warriors, and they will be involved in the 4-way tag team championship match at Evolution this weekend. So we got Io in probably the main event, and then the possibility of the Kabuki Warriors regaining the WWE Women's Championship because they were the champions last year, right around WrestleMania season. So again, really excellent match. Roxanne and Kairi had great chemistry, great job building up the cutlass. If you haven't seen this match, take the time to go watch it. I would give this one 4 stars. Really excellent stuff. Now, they did say a few weeks ago, this is my crazy theory. They did say a few weeks ago that when Asuka was going to be the queen of the ring, she was in the finals against one Jade Cargill. She did say to Io backstage that Damage Control is no more, that they're no more. So my guess is something's going to happen with Kairi, Asuka, and Io. I think they're going to split them up, whether Asuka and or Kairi cost Io the championship, or something happens there. I think either Asuka's going to turn heel, or Asuka and Kairi are going to turn heel, and maybe we see something with Kairi and Io. We see a singles program there. I wouldn't mind that, but not sure where they're going to go. I mean, Asuka's a really great heel. Io is a massively over babyface, and so is Kairi. And then you just had that really great video package with Kairi a few weeks ago on Raw. So I don't think they're going to turn Kairi heel. I mean, my guess would be Asuka maybe turns heel on Kairi in this match. If Kairi does lose, or excuse me, Io does lose the championship, I would love to see a Sky Pirates championship run. Regardless, I would like to see Kairi versus Io as well. We have not seen that in a WWE ring proper. I think you put that on Monday Night Raw, I think people go absolutely nuts. Again, folks, go out of your way to see this match with Kairi and Roxanne Perez. 4 stars for me. Really great outing between these two. Great psychology with Roxanne going to Kairi's arm, especially Kairi using that right arm for trying to get that cutlass off. Obviously, there's so many forearm smashes. And a really cool finish because, again, Kairi hitting that great dive to the outside to take out Raquel Rodriguez. And you're like, oh, this is going to open the door for Roxanne to get the advantage. She does. Looks like she's going to go for the pop rocks. But Kairi just too smart of a veteran. Again, using the backslide. Who doesn't love a good backslide? So, folks, that's going to wrap it up for this episode. Questions, comments, suggestions, anything you need from me, let me know. Who you think is going to win the 5-star Grand Prix? Let me know some of the matches you're looking forward to in this year's 5-star Grand Prix. Who do you think is going to sneak in to the playoffs? Maybe somebody that we didn't know. Maybe Nazusa Inaba, maybe Arena, maybe Hina. Let me know who you think is going to be to make the playoffs. Who's going to be the dark horse of this tournament? Again, questions, comments, suggestions, anything you need from me, Matt Turner OF on the Instagram and or the Twitter. Or, folks, you can shoot me an email. The email address simply is thestardomcast22@gmail.com. Folks, that's going to wrap it up for another fantastic episode of the Stardom Cast. We greatly appreciate your support. Can't do without you. Because like I always say, just not my podcast. It's our podcast because we're all together. Everybody's different. Everybody's special.